Hey, Xer.
It's the Y-E-K to the C-Y-R. Narrow path, gang running, so we all raise the bar. If you on that broad path, you won't get far. It's the Y-E-K to the C-Y-R. Keep the laws and commandments, Torah gang of fitness. The way that I live, I don't follow religions. Shabbat and the feast days, no Easter, no Christmas. Yahusha taught the law was not abolished or finished. The Father named Yahuwah, you reducing the titles. And Lord mean Baal, that's a Canaanite idol. No religious institution, I just stay with the Bible. Preparing for Messiah, I await his arrival. The name is Yahusha, let's make it go viral. Rejecting his name, you deceive by these idols. Yehudi, not a Christian or a Muslim or Jew. I don't follow no religion and neither should you. Yeah.
Who we gonna believe? I'm going to understand and believe Yah. Big fat baby. Alright, let's keep going on. Who we at? I'll stick it to you.
It's the Y-E-K to the C-Y-R. Narrow path, gang running, so we all raise the bar. If you on that broad path, you won't get far. It's the Y-E-K to the C-Y-R. Yeah, that Torah is life, yeah, I'm keeping the law. Grace alone won't save you, contradictions of Paul. But without grace, you cannot keep the law. At the name of Yahusha, demons tremble and fall. Bold as a lion, don't fear the devil at all. I'm listening to Yahuwah, not listen to y'all. Kick the devil in his face, I'm empowered by Yah. All esteem to the king, Rumamu Yahuwah. Because I keep the laws, they say I'm lost in the cold. Burning sage, using crystals, yeah, that's all to your code. False doctrine disproven, and they don't want the smoke. They go hard for the kingdom ever since I awoke, yeah.
Hey, Xer. Hey, Xer.
All praises to the Most High, ayy. Ayy, these rappers' music so dry, ayy, ayy. Homos hate the Bible cause they gay, gay. The Torah is forever, I obey, ayy. All praises to the Most High, ayy, ayy. Keep the Bible close by, ayy, ayy. Hebrew and you know why, ayy, ayy. All praises to the Most High, ayy, ayy. The road to redemption, it is only straight and narrow. Crystals for protection is sorcery like tarot. I know Yahuwah got me cause his eye is on the sparrow. Don't harden your heart to the truth like Pharaoh. Following the Torah is not religion, it's decision. Yahusha the Messiah never called his people Christians. Screw the Easter bunny, Saint Nick and these traditions. Serving all these false gods like those damn Egyptians. Your heart is not repentant, then how can you be forgiven? Even until death I still hold my position. Trusting in Yahuwah if I'm broke or I'm in prison. Endure to the end, I only go off what is written. Ay, all praises to the Most High. Ay, ay, these rappers' music so dry. Ay, ay, homos hate the Bible cause they gay, gay. The Torah is forever, I obey. Ay, all praises to the Most High. Ay, ay, keep the Bible close by. Ay, ay, Hebrew and you know why. Ay, ay, all praises to the Most High. Ay, ay.
Hey, Xer. Hey, Xer.
Yeah, hey. Yo, I rest on the seventh day, it surely isn't Sunday. One path to Yahuwah and Yahusha is the one way. Narrow path, step and stay on track like a subway. Yahusha crack the sky with the Malakim someday. Dietary laws, ain't no eating swine flesh. Yahusha garment staining blood like the wine press. The heathens crying out, strong delusion, they the blindest. These heathens can't keep Jesus, not appease in the slightest. Feast days, moral laws, keeping the Shabbats. No follow ways to eat them, by Yahusha's blood I'm bought. Jesus is a big Virgin Mary, don't need her. Yes, I spin the block on the devil with the heater. Covenant keeper, the Ruach is my teacher. Yahuwah the creator, worship him and not the creature. Christianity can't be any same old difference. You call on pagan names and you call yourself bishops. Heathens in these camps, Jacob giving up his birthright. Hugged up with these nations, white body like a termite. Reject the Messiah, yeah, your doctrine is Jewish. Scum of the earth, cause that doctrine is sewage. Yausha in the Torah, you can't see it, you foolish. Committed to your Ua, it's a fact that I do this. You are my enemy if you an enemy of Torah. Destruction for the wicked, just like Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah. Ain't no new ways, doctrine, no chakras, no auras. The Apocrypha, I read it, I explore it like Dora. I'm a strong black man with biblical values. Fulfill doesn't mean abolish, yeah, I'm quoting out Matthew. I'm not a patriot, I am fearing the lure. 24 and forever, my king is Yausha. I don't care about America, she surely gon' fall. And the ops gon' hate you when you Kadashi you called. Yausha 24, always and forever. To Yahuwah I surrender, my life has been better. Put no trust in no man, nor you are a curse. All esteem to Yahuwah, ayy, I put him first. Yeah, whoa, ayy. Yausha 24, ayy. It's Yausha 24, ayy. Yausha 24, Yausha 24, Yausha 24. All esteem to Yahuwah in the highest. Baruch haba Basham Yahuwah. Baruch atah King Yahusha.
Shalom, 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 family. I hope you guys are well. All praises to the Most High. Hope you guys are well. Can you please hit the like button as you come on in? We're going to jump into this. Before we do, though, I want to just make a few announcements. Somebody asked me yesterday, whenever I set the time, like for an upcoming show, is it Eastern Standard Time? Is it West Standard Time? It's always going to be Eastern Standard Time. So I go off of like the New York time would be the best way to say it. So whenever you see a teaching, if it's like scheduled for premiere or whatever, it's always going to be Eastern Standard Time. So you got to adjust that according to, you know, what Eastern Standard Time would be for you. Because I understand, you know, we're all over the place and stuff like that, scattered all over. So just so you know, whenever you see a scheduled show, it's going to be Eastern Standard Time. One more thing also is today I'm dropping I'm doing a re-premiere of Esau and the Horites. As you guys know, I've already explained it, but I was forced to remove the original 100,000 view video because of course niggas get mad, people get jealous of me, and so I had some copyright issues, so I had to completely take it down and re-upload it. So I'm going to be premiering it at 6 o'clock tonight. I'm going to be re-premiering it. Family, this video needs as much engagement as it can get. Okay, I mean, I'm telling y'all, share it, like it, comment. If you got to come back and post several comments, do it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you can do to get the algorithms to suggest this video, because I have to basically redo this all over again. You know what I'm saying? So if you come to the premiere, you know, be active in the chat. Be sure to leave a comment, you know, hit the like button if you haven't done that already. Try to share the video. The more engagement the algorithm sees, the more they're going to push this video. You feel what I'm saying? But unfortunately, you know, people feel a way about me and everybody want to destroy what I'm doing and stuff like that. Did I edit it? Yeah, I re-edited it. I took out the part that caused the problem. You know what I'm saying? There were also some parts in the video that I wasn't, you know, that had like other music on it, you know, like copyright music. So I just put all my own music on it. But I did re-edit it and took out the part that caused all this to go down. So I need y'all to go hard for this documentary for real. You know what I'm saying? I think it's very important, truth. You know, I know some people have an issue with it, you know, especially Caucasians. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not really worried about Caucasians. You know, I don't care how these people feel. But our people need to know this truth. Okay. That's why a lot of y'all found me through this documentary, because it was for y'all. It was will for you to know the real. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why my channel is where it is. It's really more so because of this documentary was like the way everybody found me. So all praises to the Most High. So we're premiering it tonight at 6 o'clock. Be sure to be there. All right, now let's talk about this. Be careful, because they're coming after everybody's channel. Yeah, honestly, they've been coming at me for a long time. So I mean, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. Anyway, so let's talk about this, bro, because you know, a lot of people really believe that this is our land. A lot of people believe that this is Yahuwah's land, and it is not, bro. And today I'm going to be showing you it is not our land. It ain't got nothing to do with us. It's part of the lie. Okay? Donald Trump literally came out recently and said a lot of end time stuff is going to happen in the Middle East. And y'all know that he is, you know what I'm saying, part of this agenda. Okay? Into making you believe that that's the real land. Matter of fact, let me pull that up one second. Give me a second. Everything about the so-called state of Israel is fake. Okay? That is not the true land. And in this video, I will not be telling you where I think it is. I don't get into those type of conversations. Okay? No disrespect to everybody who believes that they know where it is, but I'm just going to tell you this. Until Yahuwah reveals it, there's no way to definitively say that this is where it is. This is the true land. This is this, this is that. You can theorize. You can assume. Now, I know it's in Africa. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, the scriptures make that clear. But where exactly in the continent it is, I don't know, and I don't pretend to know, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I know, because I don't know. And I don't get into those debates. That's why y'all will never find me doing a video saying, I know where the land is. Oh, I know exactly where it is. No, I don't know. And I'm not going to pretend to know, because you ain't revealed it to me. And so I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying, pretend like I know. I just think that's fruitless. I think it's all just fruitless conjecture until Yahuwah reveals it. Yeah, you could use ancient sources. You can look at this and look at that. But at the end of the day, you don't really truly know. Okay, because the heathens have lied about everything. They've lied about the borders of Egypt. I mean, at one point, you know, you could say, well, it's Ethiopia. But you do realize all of Africa was called Ethiopia, right? At one point, you can look at old maps. It was called Ethiopia. Then you look at the Europeans. They have divided up the continent of Africa. So you got East Africa, you got South Africa, you got West Africa, you got Northeast Africa, North Africa. You have Central Africa. You have all of these divisions of the land because of the heathen, the European. The European is why you call things East Africa, South Africa, West Africa. That's because of the Europeans. When they were colonizing Africa, the British, the French, the heathens. That's why I say, you know what I'm saying, it's not really something I'm just willing to talk about or debate too much. So let's jump into this. So we're going to look at a few scriptures here first. Now, why is it, Yexer, that you feel like that land is a fraud? The scriptures. the scriptures tell you some things about the land currently in the modern day that help us realize that that's not the true land. Okay, so let's look at this. Scroll in. Okay, so this is from my blog, and we're going to look at these scriptures. This is not our land, the state of Israel fraud, and we're going to talk about how it came to be, you know, the what is attached to this and everything else. All right, so it says we're going to look at this. So the first thing you need to understand is the scriptures say that the land is currently desolate. Okay, so if you got a land that's inhabited by people, that ain't the land. Okay, so once you can accept that the land is desolate, that should be enough to help you understand if that current land they call Israel has millions of people walking around, then that tells you that's not the true land. But let's keep going. Jeremiah 6:8, you shall be chastened, O Yerushalayim, or Jerusalem, with pain and with the scourge, lest my soul depart from you, lest I make you a desert land which shall not be inhabited. A desert land. Okay, and we read the Septuagint. All right, so it says it's going to be a desert land. That means it's going to be desolate. There's no one there. There's no man, no beast, a straight up desert. That is not what this is. Okay, there's plenty of people here, millions of people. You've got children, you've got men, you've got women. You know, you got people from all around the world coming here thinking that this is the true land. This is not a desert, y'all. This is not a desert. Let's keep going. Jeremiah 7:34, and I will destroy out of the cities of Yehudah and the streets of Jerusalem the voice of them that make merry, and the voice of them that rejoice, and the voice of the bridegroom, and the voice of the bride, for the whole land shall become a desolation. Okay, so again, the scriptures say the whole land is desolate, meaning even to this day, meaning that there is not going to be anybody over there right now. Okay, so again, these Christians and these Jewish people, they got a lot of explaining to do, because they're saying that the land is the true land, and you know, JC walked over here and all this other stuff, but yet they never pull up these scriptures that say the land is desolate, especially after 70 AD. When the Romans destroyed the land of Jerusalem. Let's keep going. This is the book of Yahudith or Judith 5:19. But now are they returned to their Elua, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. So this is a prophecy that's being spoken about here. When we are regathered after the scattering, okay? So when we go back to the land, it will no longer be desolate, which is why I'm saying, if you're telling people you know for sure where the land is, and it's not a desolate wasteland, we've got a bit of an issue here, because it's not going to be fully restored until we are back in that land. Okay, so I think we need to be careful about telling people things. Obviously, Yahuwah has not revealed where the land truly is, because it's not time to know. Baruch Rishon, 1 Baruch 2:23, I will cause to cease out of the cities of Yehudah and from Jerusalem the voice of mirth and the voice of joy, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, and the whole land shall be desolate of inhabitants. Okay, so Baruch Rishon, or 1 Baruch, is also a prophetic book, and it's telling you there's no one there. There is no one in the land right now. It's desolate, as we just read. Let's keep going. We're going to go next to Debar Ha-Yamim, 2 Chronicles 26:21. That the word of Yahuwah by the mouth of Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah, might be fulfilled, until the land should enjoy its Shabbats. Okay, so if the land is enjoying its Shabbats and resting in Shabbat, keeping all the days of its desolation to the accomplishment of 70 years. So if the land is resting in its Shabbat, that means there's no war, there's no destruction, there's no man coming over there to tear it up and colonize it and conquer the land and steal the land from a certain people. None of that is happening. The land is in rest during its desolation, meaning no man is even over there near where that land is right now. So again, how does this fit modern day Israel? Let's keep going. Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah, this is 32, 37 through 38, and the KJV is 25, 37 through 38. and the peaceable abodes that remain shall be destroyed before the fierceness of my anger. He has forsaken his lair as a lion, for their land is become desolate before the great sword. Again, we are talking about a desolate land. Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah 9:10, in the KJV or Masoretic, it's 9:11. And I will remove the inhabitants of Jerusalem and make it a dwelling place of dragons, and I will utterly waste the cities of Yehudah, so that they shall not be inhabited. So that they shall not be inhabited. There it is again. No one's there. Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah 40:10, and the KJV is 33:10. Thus saith Yahuwah, there shall yet be heard in this place of which you say, it is destitute of men. Wait, hold on. I forgot to mute my phone. My bad. Okay. It is destitute of men and cattle in the cities of Yahud or Judea, and in the streets of Jerusalem, the places that have been desolate for want of men and cattle. Okay. So no men, no cattle, completely desolate. Jeremiah 51 verse 6 in the KJV 44 verse 6. So my anger and my wrath dwelt upon them and was kindled in the gates of Yahud and in the streets of Jerusalem. They became a desolation and a waste as at this day. So to this day, it is desolate. Nobody there. Isaiah 1:7, your land is desolate, your cities burn with fire, your land, strangers devoured in your presence and is made desolate, overthrown by strange nations. Okay. Babylonian captivity. Our people were brought into Babylonian captivity. We ended up coming back to the land. And then there's the Macedonian seizure. Then obviously you had the Romans seize the temple in 70 AD. So this is obviously a prophetic prophecy or a prophetic statement here being made by the prophet Yashayahu, that the strange, the heathens, the strange nations would burn it with fire and make it desolate. Okay. So if we fast forward to 70 AD, which is the last time we hear about the temple, we know for a fact that this is talking about what the Romans did. And it's talking about up until today. So the land is still desolate as we speak. Yakaza call Ezekiel 12:19, and you shall say to the people of the land, thus says Yahuwah to the inhabitants of Jerusalem on the land of Yasharah, they shall eat their bread in scarcity and shall drink their water in desolation, that the land may be desolate with all that it contains, for all that dwells in it are unrighteous. Ezekiel 36:27-38, and I will put my ruach in you and cause you to walk in my ordinances and keep my judgments and do them. 28, and you shall dwell upon the land which I gave to your fathers, and you shall be to me a people, and I will be to you an Alua. Now, this is obviously another prophecy here, because remember, if you read Ezekiel 37, it's talking about the dry bones awakening and all that, right? So this is something about the future generation of Yasharal, where we will be brought back to that land, because at one point we were removed from that land. So this is also prophetic, okay? And I will save you from all the uncleanliness, and I will call for the corn and multiply it, and will not bring famine upon you. And I will multiply the fruit of your trees, okay, and the produce of the field, that you not bear the reproach of famine among the nations. Okay, so remember, the land is desolate. There's no wildlife, there's no man. It's a desert now. But this is a prophecy about how Yahuwah says that he will cause produce to come of the field. He will multiply the fruit of the trees. That land will not bear the look of desolation anymore when we are brought back. Okay, so if all this is going to happen when we're back in the land, that means currently, right now, it is a barren desolation, a barren desert. Okay. 31, and you shall remember your evil ways and your practices that were not good, and you shall be hateful in your own sight for your transgressions and for your abominations. Not for your sake do I do this, says Yahuwah, as it is known to you. Be ye not ashamed and confound for your ways, O house of Yasharal. Verse 33, thus says Yahuwah, in that day wherein I shall cleanse you from all your iniquities, I will cause the cities to be inhabited, and the waste places shall be built upon. Okay, so again, another prophecy about Yahuwah building up Jerusalem again, because currently it's destroyed. It's desolate. There's no one there. All right. 34, and the desolate land shall be cultivated whereas it was desolate in the eyes of everyone that passed by. Okay, another witness. Yahuwah will restore the land, but everyone that saw the land, remember seeing it as desolate. 35. And they shall say, that desolate land has become like a garden of delight, and the waste and desolate and ruined cities are inhabited. Okay? So this does not at all pertain to even what you call Israel, because Palestine was already inhabited by a people who lived there. Okay? So as far back as we go in history, that land was never desolate. But when the children of Yasharal are restored back to the land, it will become like a garden of delight. Okay? 36. And the nations, as many as shall have been left round about you, shall know that I, Yahuwah, have built the ruined cities and planted the wastelands. I, Yahuwah, have spoken it and will do it. Thus saith Yahuwah, yet for this will I be sought by the house of Yasharal to establish them. I will multiply them, even men as sheep, as holy sheep, as the sheep of Jerusalem in her feasts. Thus shall the desert cities be full of flocks of men, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah. So this is going to be a moment where Yahuwah is going to do something so magnificent, where he's going to restore, he's going to restore his people back to the land, but then the land will return back to its blossoming, greenery. The cities that were destroyed will be built up again. Yahuwah is going, when he restores back his children, it's going to be a moment where the whole world sees it. They're going to acknowledge that this is supernatural. They're going to acknowledge the Most High is restoring the land. But it's not going to happen until his children, the Negroes, are back in our lands for the whole world to see. And this is most likely going to be after the second Exodus, the 3.5 years we with Yahuwah. We're going to be with him. And then when we're finally back in the land, everything will be restored back to the way that it should be. Okay, so it's going to be something that's only going to happen when his children are back in their right land. And that's not going to be modern day Israel. Okay, now, let me show y'all this. Now, we're going to look at some more scriptures in a minute, okay? But I just wanted to show you that the scriptures say the land is desolate. Now, let's look at Israel, and let's look at how many people live there. And let's see if that fits what the scriptures say that we just looked at. Because it says that there's no man nor beast there. But let's see if that's what the scripture, if that lines up with what they're saying is modern day so-called Israel. So let's look at this. All right, I'm gonna pull up this. Article from Wikipedia, and let's look at this. The state of Israel. Okay, let's see. So 73% Jews, 21% Arabs, 5.4% other ethnicities or ethnic groups. All right, let's look at the population. So from the 2022 census, you had 9 million people. Now, in 2024, they estimate of about 10 million people. This does not fit scripture at all, okay? This does not fit scripture, okay? Now, it gets even crazier than this, because if you look at the GDP, right? How much is, how much this land has made? $541 billion. This is not desolation. This is not a land that's resting and enjoying her Shabbats. The land of Israel has made billions of dollars, $541 billion. Family, come on. This is clearly owned by the Rothschilds. This land is a fraud. And obviously, the Rothschilds, they own everything. So it's like, obviously, behind the lie of them claiming to be the chosen people, they have been able to make that amount of money, right? Let's read what this says. Yakoba's in here. Shalom, Aki. It says, the names land of Israel and children of Israel have historically been used to refer to the biblical kingdom of Israel and the entire Jewish people, respectively. Haha, that's hilarious. The name Israel, or what they say is Yisrael, persists rules, though after Hosea 12:4, often interpreted as struggle with God, refers to the patriarch Jacob, who, according to the Hebrew Bible, was given a name after he successfully wrestled with the angel of the Lord. The earliest known archaeological artifact to mention the word Israel as a collective is the Mernifta stele of ancient Egypt, dated back to 13th century BCE. So obviously, Wikipedia is kind of trying to decree this as the true land. Okay, obviously that's part of the lie. And it irritates me a lot when people like send me stuff and say, well, Google says this. Do y'all not realize Google is compromised? Do y'all not realize a lot of these search engines are compromised? You know, so you can't look at Google and say, well, Google says his name is Jesus. They say his name is God and the Lord. You know what I'm saying? That's not a source you can trust. Just like you can't trust that we were called Israel at all. Okay? Because if you look right here and you see Yod, Shin, Rosh, Aleph, Lamad, then how the hell would this say Israel? This says Yasharah. But again, that's why they don't call it what it truly is, because they want to hide the fact that it actually means upright of Alua. Alua ties very, very closely to Yahuwah, Yahuda, Yahusha, so on and so forth. Okay? So there is a covering up here. All right. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the establishment of this state of Israel. Okay, which was appointed by the British and the Rothschilds. All right. So we can see here that this does not fit what the scriptures say. They got 10 million people living in this land. And honestly, to be real with you, I feel like a lot of these fake Christian prophecies, you know what I'm saying? They're using this land to establish that. So the Christians think certain things are happening that ain't happening. Just like right now, they're talking about the war of Gog and Magog is happening. But the war of Gog and Magog don't happen until we back in the land. And we ain't there yet. We still in these crusty countries. We still amongst the heathens. We are not back home yet. So just factor in your mind, they're trying to make and convince the masses things are happening that are not happening right now, because we are not there. That's why it's so important to know who the real children of Yasharal are. Because if you don't know, then you're going to fall for a lot of these lies. Now, let me show you another reason why this cannot be the true land. Tel Aviv, which is a city in Israel, has one of the biggest gay pride parades every freaking year. Why would Yahuwah allow Sodom and Gomorrah type activity to take place in his land if this is really the true land? Join Israel's 2-day gay event, which will begin Thursday evening, June 6, 2024, along Tel Aviv's beachfront promenade, Herbert Samuel Boardwalk, with creative floats and live performances. The festival will continue at noon Friday, June 7th at Yehoshua Park for a party bash until sunset before Sabbath. Nigga, what? Come on, bro. You got a bunch of sodomites over here? Come on, y'all. That should be a dead giveaway. The fact that they have a homo gay pride parade at this dang land of Israel should tell you that that land is a fraud, bro. Yahuwah would not allow this. He called this lifestyle an abomination. And you want to tell me that's our land? You're out of your mind. You're out of your freaking mind. Obviously, they don't serve the Alua that I serve, but we know that. They serve the devil, right? Facts. It says, visiting Tel Aviv for the 2024 Tel Aviv Pride. If you're planning to visit Tel Aviv for the 2024 Gay Pride, check out our Tel Aviv Pride package tours. They feature visits to the highlights of Israel, as well as a time to soak in all that pride has to offer. Oh boy, this sounds just like something the devil would say. I'm just saying, he was the father of lies, and he's also the father of pride. I'm just saying. Of course, Pride Week is not the only week where gay life is big in Tel Aviv. Y'all hear that? Gay life right before the so-called Sabbath. See, y'all, and of course, their Sabbath does not follow Yahuwah's calendar. Theirs follows a whole different pagan new moon calendar. Okay, so don't get it twisted that they still homos, they still weirdos, they still heathens, they still Edomites, they still Amalekites. And by the way, in the Talmud, they've got like 12 different genders. So I just want you to understand, when it comes to the LGBT community, they're behind it. Amalek is behind it. Let's keep reading. For those who prefer to travel independently, check out our Tel Aviv tours, including walking tours, food tours, nightlife tours, and tours from Tel Aviv, which are available every every day to Jerusalem, the Dead Sea, Petra, and more. The city has a more sizable gay population and is popular with visitors throughout the year. Check out our introduction to Gay Tel Aviv for Beginners for more information. Happy Pride. So there it is, y'all. This right here should be a dead giveaway to you. But yet our people are so deceived. They are fleeing out there. They believe that that's the true land. And what's worse is that they don't realize that you are really putting yourself in a dangerous place, because you getting stuck right in the middle of a war that ain't got nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to just show you guys a little bit of a video here so y'all can see how gay Israel is. Okay, it's a Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, I'm just going to say it for lack of better words. So let me show y'all this next video, fam. Give me a second. Let me just fast forward this, just so y'all can see for yourself and not just an article. This is like, I mean, like I used to live in LA, right? And obviously I used to be in the industry. They used to have these gay pride parades in like Hollywood all the time, bro. And I've never been to one because I'm not into that kind of stuff. But I mean, if you look at videos of gay pride, it looks exactly like those videos you see online of homosexuals and this kind of stuff. It's just nasty, bro. It's totally disgusting. So let's look at this real quick, family. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I don't want to watch this. I'm just trying to prove to you how gay it is out there. How many faggots are running around Israel and how it's allowed. And these are claiming to be the chosen people. Man, they love this type of lifestyle because it's their lifestyle. They're heathens. But let's keep watching. All right, I'm not going to play that music. I don't want to hear that crap. But look at that. Look at this. All right. This is in so-called Israel. Now, it would be so beautiful if the Most High were just to strike down all these people right here, right now. But obviously, there's judgment coming up on the land. We're already seeing the judgment up on the land. But this is not our land, y'all. Okay? This should be clear example of why this is not our land. Okay, the Most High would not allow his land to be defiled like this in such a way while a bunch of lying heathens are claiming to be his chosen people. This is part of the deception. This is why the anti-Messiah, the Jewish anti-Messiah, the white European anti-Messiah will be accepted by the world, because Israel has already convinced people that gay is okay. All right. So I'm just going to leave it there. I don't think I need to show y'all anymore. All right. I don't need to show you anything else about this. I think y'all get the message. Okay. That's what they do. That is what their lifestyle is. That is them people. All right. Now, I'm going to show you guys a few more things, because I see a lot of our people fleeing out there to that land called Israel, believing that's the true land and putting themselves in some dangerous types of situations. Number one, you need to understand it's extremely racist out there. Extremely racist, okay? These Europeans that call themselves Jewish people, they are really just white supremacists. They are. They uphold that. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm gonna show y'all a video first. All right, so this is gonna be the first video. Empire Files: Anti-Black Racism Reveals Israel's White Supremacy. Okay, so just in case you feel like you want to go flee out there because you think that's the land, I need you to think about what lies you've been told. Because if Yahuwah said that the children of Satan, the Revelation 2939s, are liars, then why would you believe anything that comes out of their mouth? I'm just saying. Why even listening to anything they say? Take a look.
The Sudanese are a cancer in our body. Interior Minister Eli Yishai claimed that African refugees were raping many Israeli women, who do not complain because they don't want people to know they were also given AIDS. He also stated Israel belongs to the white man.
You hear that? You hear that? Okay? And then people want to come to me and say, Yexer, I don't like when you talk about white people like that. Yexer, I'm disappointed in you. The white man is evil. Okay, I don't mean every white man is evil. There's good white men that accept this truth and understand their position as who we are, understand that we are the chosen, and that's fine. But the majority of the Caucasian are like this, okay? And that's why I hate when we need to dismiss this idea of these Jewish people trying to say that they're not white, okay? Because they are, all right? They are Europeans, just like the European Anglo-Saxon, the ones who dwelled up in the Caucasus, all right? What happened in the Second World War, all right? That is white on white crime, okay? All of these people are pale-faced European white people, whether they want to accept it or not. The Jewish people try to say, well, we're Jewish. That's a religion. But your ethnicity is Caucasian because y'all came from the Caucasus. All right? But you just heard they say Israel belongs to the white man. So they see themselves as white, even though they like to kind of make a separation. And I told you guys before, the reason why white people and Jewish people have an issue is because they are both fighting to be at the top of the white supremacist power structure. All right? The white man, the Anglo-Saxon who is not Jewish, wants to still be at the top, while Amalek is already at the top. And he's fighting with the Anglo-Saxon or the European to be able to maintain that position of power and authority. And the Anglo-Saxon, he's like, well, I may not be Jewish, but I'm still white. So I need to be up there. I don't need to be in your religion to be at the top. So that's what this really is about. But one thing I could say is they both equally hate you. Okay? That I will tell you. Just keep that in mind. Here we go.
An Israeli police station in Tel Aviv also officially honored May Golan, a leader of anti-African campaigns that encourage violent attacks. And this incitement does indeed work. Just in November 20...
This is for educational purposes only, YouTube. This is fair use. Educational purposes only.
2016, an innocent Sudanese man was beaten to death while walking home from work. The racism runs so...
A Sudanese man beaten to death. Now, we're talking about a Hamite, right? But nonetheless, a melanated individual. So think how it is when a Negro goes out there thinking that's the true land and what can happen to you, okay? You are really surrounded by Edomites, Amalek, the people who really hate you. The same individuals that Yahuwah told, Saul or Saul to completely destroy, because when we were on our way to the promised land, Amalek literally ambushed us, and Yahuwah felt a way about that. So he told us to totally wipe them out, their men, their women, their children, all of them, their cattle, get rid of all of these people. But yet Saul, decided to save one of them alive, the king of the Amalekites. And guess what? They continue to have more babies, and that's where you get the Jewish people of today.
Deep, babies are even attacked. One man tried to murder a 1-year-old baby girl from Eritrea by stabbing her in the head. 92% of them are from just 2 countries, Sudan and Eritrea. Those escaping Sudan are fleeing ethnic cleansing and genocide in a vicious civil war. Ironically, the Israeli government has directly fueled this bloody conflict with weapons and war. Many of the refugees I spoke with told me they barely made it out alive. Similarly, refugees from Eritrea face dire...
Now, my best friend, Weddy, shout out to him, he's Eritrean, okay? And he told me, we were having a phone conversation not too long ago, and he was telling me about how the European Jews were in Eritrea for like an extended period of time right before 1948. And we're gonna talk a little bit more about more evidence as to why that's not the true land. And I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But he told me that these European Jews, or these fake ones, Amalekites, they were in Eritrea for like an extended period of time right before 1948 because they were hiding out over there. You feel what I'm saying? Until they were able to get the land. Because what people don't understand is that fake land called Israel, they literally did not come there just by coming over there, okay? There was colonization. There were massacres of indigenous dark-skinned Palestinian individuals, okay? And y'all got to understand that. They came shedding blood. They came conquering. They came bombing and massacring and genociding like they're doing now with the other Palestinians, all right? That's exactly why Palestine don't like them. Ever since 1948, this is what they've been doing. And I'm not no supporter of Palestine either, because we could talk about the Arab slave trade, all right? We could talk about how, Ishmael is mentioned in that, Psalms 83 conspiracy, I don't support either side because both of them are some damn oppressors. But I'm just trying to get y'all to understand that there were already people that were indigenous to that land that were darker skinned people. And the Europeans came there just like they do everything else. And they colonized and they took and they snatched it away. Okay, because the British gave them authority to do that. And the British, we're going to talk about the Balfour Declaration. We'll talk about all of that. But the British are also the same nation that colonized Africa and continue to split up Africa, and is still under colonial control of, or Africa still under colonial control of the British as well as the French. Okay, so y'all gotta understand, it's the same colonial powers involved with all this. Remember, we talked about Haiti, we talked about Canada and the French and the British and the US. Same thing. It's always the pale-faced nations involved in this stuff. It's always them. I don't care if it's Amalek. I don't care if it's the Anglo-Saxon. I don't care if it's the people from the Caucasus. They have a history of this. That's what they do. Let's keep going.
Conditions. One of the poorest, starvation-ridden countries in the world. Many Eritreans face mandatory conscription to slave-like conditions, imprisonment and execution by their government. Most who crossed the Egyptian border settled down in Tel Aviv or nearby cities, began working the lowest paid jobs in restaurants and hotels, and started a new life for their families. While Israeli politicians and police try to create a picture of skyrocketing crime and chaos as a result of these neighbors, they amount to the same type of sensationalized manipulation we see from Trump and the alt-right media in America today. In fact, a report by Israeli Parliament's own research center revealed that African refugees are dramatically less likely to be involved in crime than Israeli citizens. Where African refugees are most concentrated, they account for less than 1% of reported crime. But the campaign of vitriol against...
Now, keep in mind that some of these Africans that are coming there are bloodline Black Jews. They're bloodline Yahudim, bloodline Yasharalim, and they're getting treated like this because they believe that that's the true land. Again, y'all gotta understand, some people have, believed this narrative for a very long time that that's the true land. But now we're starting to see that it's not. And a lot of Negroes are fleeing over there thinking that's the true land and putting themselves in some bad situations. And I'm going to show you more examples in a minute.
Them is fierce. Netanyahu even made it clear that African refugees pose a threat to the demographic of Israel as a white Jewish state. Israel is a small country, and we do not have the geographic and demographic depths to absorb them. We will not allow Israel to be flooded with illegal migrants and terrorists.
Don't that sound like how America treats you? Treated the Haitians, treated the Caribbean people, the Yahudim scattered across the four corners. Get these migrants out of here. They're terrorists. They're eating cats. They're eating your pets. They're eating your dog. Do y'all see the common ideology or the white man? Same thing, bro. It's the same crap. All right? Just like Trump said, oh, they're terrorists. Oh, they're eating this. They're eating that. They're migrants. They're illegals. We need to build up a wall and get rid of the Black Haitians. Now, let's not get rid of the Chinese that are coming here, who are most likely UN soldiers. Let's not get rid of the Venezuelans that have taken over whole apartment complexes and got bang bangs. Let's get rid of the Black Haitians and the people from the Congo and all this stuff. Okay? But you see, it don't matter where you are. It don't matter what part of the world you are in. Okay? When you are under the mindset of white academia, this is the common collective thought of the European man. It doesn't matter where in the world you are, which is why, for the life of me, I can't understand why Black people go to places like Europe. Go to places where you're going to deal with a lot more of them folk. I feel like if you're going to go somewhere where's more Negroes. Why would you want to be around them? You already see how they feel about you. People going to Europe and Paris and all of these other areas. So you can go shop at the white man's store. And while you're shopping and spending money on the white man, you can be sure to also get that racial discrimination in a whole different dosage in a whole nother country. Just another reminder of how hated you are everywhere you go. I don't know why nobody would put themselves through that. I'm just saying. All right. We're going to just watch a little bit more. We're not going to watch this whole thing because this is a 24-minute video. But we're just watching this so you can understand the racism that's going on. So there are people that fled out there without going to Yahuwah, without praying to Yahuwah, without even asking him to open your eyes about whether that's the land or not. You just flew over there because the mainstream media and these damn white devils told you that's the land. Okay? But it's not. And now you don't put yourself in danger because you believe it's the land. Even though Yahuwah ain't told you to flee America, he said he would gather us. You don't want to hear that. You just said, I'm going to just go flee over there where it's a bunch of Khazars and Edomites who don't like me. And because I'm in the land, I'm going to be protected. And now you're stuck in the middle of a warfare. And I'm not saying that because I don't feel, it's not that I don't feel bad for our people that decide to go out there, but that's why you need the Most High to guide you in everything you do. When we finally leave this country and these lands in which we've been scattered, we will be with the Most High. We will have his protection. That's what I'm saying. You should not ever leave or do anything prematurely without his guidance. He is your protection. He will overthrow nations for you. He's done it many times before. The Egyptians couldn't touch Yasharal when he led them out of Egypt. Imagine if they would have tried to leave prior to when Yahuwah appointed for them to go. They wouldn't have had the protection that they did. That's what I'm saying. Wait on Yahuwah. If he ain't told you to go, do not go. Yeah, family, we got 86 people watching. Please hit the like button. I'd really, really appreciate it. Ahava Yah's in the building. Hey, shalom, sis. Good to see you. All praises to the Most High. All right, let's keep going. Finish this up. We're going to go to the next video in a second.
With so many politicians openly calling to expel these so-called infiltrators and whipping up xenophobic hatred against refugees, we went to an anti-refugee rally in Tel Aviv, where demonstrators burned an effigy of the mayor for allowing the children of refugees into local schools.
And I'm a member of the Labour Party, and I consider myself left-wing. And I support this struggle because I think it's fair and it's just. They've come here with their practices and with their multitude of problems, and this cannot coexist. They must be removed en masse from here.
What are you doing?
I'm here, traveling around.
You present somebody?
Huh?
You cannot get inside.
What does that sign? What does that mean? It says no permission to bypass a non-permitted way of staying.
Been smuggled through the border and trying to get a better job.
Well,
and then they're saying that they are refugee. They are law defined as refugee.
Do you think that, but I mean, isn't Eritrea like one of the worst countries for human rights in the world?
Actually, Eritrea is a beautiful country.
It is?
Yeah.
I came here to support their struggle.
Okay, so you get it, all right? So it's this whole mindset of go back to where you came from, just get out of white supremacist, Jew supremacist Israel, okay?
The #1 documentary of the decade. Take a look.
I came here for a visit in 19.
All right, so Israel's Black Hebrew Israelites fight deportation. Yes, they are deporting Black Hebrew Israelites, or they go, I hate that they use Black Hebrew Israelites. They refuse to say Hebrew Israelites because that's what we are, right? They have to say Black Hebrew Israelites as if every single Israelite wasn't black, like they were all white or something. I mean, that's just the racism, the underhanded racism. That's why they don't call us Hebrew Israelites. They call us Black Hebrew Israelites. You got to throw black in front of everything, right? They still got to attach the byword, you know what I'm saying, to us. But anywho, in Israel right now, they are deporting Israelites, our people, those of us who walk in the truth, those of us who are, walking in Yahuwah, Yahusha. They are being deported by these Khazars, okay, because of the white supremacy that is the nation of Israel, okay? So take a look.
1995. I really enjoyed the love, the spirit of oneness that was here in our community in Israel. Coming from America, I just knew that this was the place that I wanted to have children.
Yeah, sis, I love you, sister. I do. You one of our own, but sis, that was not a good idea without seeking the Most High. Okay, that you don't do that. All right. And this is not a moment. This is a teaching moment. Okay. And that's not just when it comes to leaving this land and all that. That's just everything you do. You got to go to the Most High first. You got to put over how you feel. You got to put over what you think, what you assume, what you think to be the truth. You got to go to the Most High about every decision you make, family. And now you done brought your children into this, and now they're about to be deported. You probably had to save up money to be able to afford to come out there, and now you're being deported by these devils who claim to be you. I mean, sis, you really got to go to the Most High about everything. You really do. We have to popularize the idea of taking all things up with Yahuwah in prayer. I'm not saying you can't get a second opinion, right? But always go to the Father first. All right, please, because every situation is different. A purpose he might have for me may not be the same purpose he has for you. And I feel bad for her because she got children, and she might really be trying to seek the Most High. But I just don't think she seeked him about this specifically to know whether or not she should do this. And it's unfortunate. I'm not at all trying to throw shots at her, but family, we got to do better at taking things to Yahuwah. I'm serious.
Raise my children.
In 1998, Tovit picked up her entire life in America and moved to Dimona, a small town in southern Israel. Now she's lived here for over 2 decades, has had all of her 8 children here, but soon they may all be forced to leave.
So she's been here for over 20 years. She has 8 children, and unfortunately, it don't even look. What is this? Oh, Father, help us all. Clearly, the Father is not in this picture, which is even more sad. I mean, I just noticed the Illuminati symbolism, which is kind of crazy. But clearly there's no father around. This woman has all these children. The father's nowhere to be found. And so I'm sure struggling in the States with 8 children is very, very hard to do. And so because the father's not around, I'm sure you probably did this for the betterment, more so for the children, but also because of the way in which you live, which is being an Israelite or whatever. Yeah, this is just sad, bro. 8 children, and you by yourself, and you've been there for over 20 years, and now you're gonna possibly be deported because of these pale-faced devils. Oh man, this is tragic, y'all.
I received a letter of deportation with my name on it, as well as all of my children's names. At that time, we were given 60 days. And we were told we would be deported from the land of Israel.
Tovit and her family are some of 51 Black Hebrew Israelites slapped with deportation orders in April. Now, they're fighting to stay in Israel. Black Hebrew Israelites are a community of Black Americans who believe that the West Africans brought over to the Americas during the transatlantic slave trade had belonged to one of the lost tribes of Israel, and that their mission is to one day return to the land they say they were expelled from.
We wanted to find out where our roots lie, and our roots lie here. And our ancestral homeland we consider to be here.
You see, and this is the thing. This is the belief system. People really believe this is the land because they're not doing enough research. They're not looking at the Balfour Declaration. I'm going to show you guys some research to prove also why this is not the land. This is not the true land. I'm going to show you that they proposed several different locations to establish the so-called state of Israel. And half of these people, if I show you who Rothschild is, most of y'all don't even know who he is. Most Negroes that say that that's the land don't even know who the Rothschilds are, which goes to show that they don't know anything about what created that so-called state of Israel. You know what I mean? When you understand who the Rothschilds are, you understand that they're the serpent seed, and they helped establish that land because they had purchased it a while ago, and they gave it to the Jewish people. That should be a clear indication that this is all part of the great satanic lie. But because people don't research anything, and that's the issue, man, Negroes don't read books. Negroes don't research anything. If enough people say it, they'll just be all like, you know what? Okay, that has to be the truth. Because if that wasn't the case, you wouldn't even have camps. You would not have Hebrew Israelite camps if we weren't so easily misguided and misled. Now, that's not all of us, but it's a good chunk of us. I'm just saying.
Here, literally here in southern Judea. So that's how we identify as Jewish, because we're Judeans. We live here, and we say that that's our tribal affiliation.
Around the early 1970s, Black Hebrew Israelites began trickling into Israel on tourist visas, where they established an urban kibbutz known as the Village of Peace in Dimona. Neither Israel nor any of the state's religious bodies recognize Black Hebrew Israelites as Jewish, disqualifying them from citizenship under the law of return.
Whoa, you hear that? You've been disqualified. Now, I want to make something clear here. They disqualify you as Jewish, okay? Because that is how they kind of present themselves. But we already know damn well that the Igbos and the Malawi and the Yoruba and the Zulu and all of them, they all have DNA that's connected to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All you have to do is connect that to the Kahanim or Kanim DNA, which is the priestly DNA. You know what I'm saying? But they're saying because you don't qualify as Jewish DNA, that disqualifies you. But they're not looking at the DNA haplogroup E1B1A, which ties directly to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but only Negroes got that. But they're looking at the Ashkenazi DNA results, which doesn't prove anything. All it does is prove that you Amalek or you came from the Caucasus. So even when you look at the way that they're determining who's eligible to be there, they're not even doing it based in actual truth and evidence. They're doing it based in the lie, because we already know that Israel itself does not even allow the Amalekites to get a DNA test. We know that that's illegal out there. So what type of criteria could they be using on these Negroes here? It can't be the same thing. Because if the tests say Ashkenazi Jewish determines that you're of Judah or Yahuda, that's not good enough. Because we know that these people's true DNA goes back to the Caucasus Mountains in Poland and Europe and Belgium and all these European countries. Not Northeast Africa or what you call Palestine.
Have been reached over time, allowing members of the community to gain long-term resident status in return for children serving in the IDF. Now, the Dimona community is thriving 3,000 members strong, but not everyone is reaping the benefits.
We really had wanted to get some resolution on their cases, but we never were able to get the cooperation because different governments came in and it was such a hot potato, nobody wanted to deal with it. So they kicked it up the road. And so when the Ministry of Interior signed or sent the letters to these individuals, it was like, why are you doing this now? And all of a sudden they wanted to act as if they had discovered us, discovered these brothers and sisters living here. And we had let them know that they were living here.
Unlike Tovit, this Dimona resident didn't find the Black Hebrew Israelite community. She was born into it.
I was born and raised in Israel. I was taken to the States against my will at the age of 14 by my parents, of course. And ever since I left, I always wanted to make it back.
After moving to the United States with her parents at 14, she only had one dream: make it back to Israel.
When my feet stepped here,
Okay, so she was born and raised in so-called Israel. And she came to the Americas when she was 14 by the hand of her parents. And she ended up wanting to come back. Okay, that makes sense.
I was free. I was like,
and I'm assuming this must be the children's father. I just thought it was interesting how they started out the show without even having him in the picture. Now they're showing it, which is good. I'm glad he's there. She's not a single mother, but still.
I'm home. This is it. I can move.
Now she and her American husband live in Dimona with their 6 children, where they keep.
I thought she had 8. Wait, are we talking about 2 different people, bro? I'm confused.
Shabbat, observe all.
They must, you know what? They must be talking about somebody different, because with the lady before, they showed her face, but with these 2 individuals, they're not showing their face. So we are talking about a different woman, obviously a different couple, because the first woman didn't have a man with her, and they're not showing their faces. So we are talking about 2 different groups of people. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
the Jewish holidays, and follow the Torah.
We maintain those particular disciplines, especially the spiritual 10 laws. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt...
I'll fast forward.
I said I wanted to be a pilot. The same day my teacher told me I'm not going to be...
Look at that, Aki Mael.
Be what I want. I said, I'm going to be a pilot. And I walked out the class. I left. On my graduation day, I definitely had to express myself to that teacher. But I'm still on my way.
All right. Okay, so we're going to move on. I'm going to show y'all this last video, and then we'll move on to
seniors. If you were born before 1969, you can qualify for the Otto program.
Oh my God.
This new program from Otto
ads,
is
bro.
so simple. It takes about a minute to find.
Since 1969. But there remains an ongoing push to deport them in gradual steps. A recent report by the Times of Israel reveals that last Thursday, the Interior Ministry's Population and Immigration Authority has sent 51 members of the Hebrew Israelites letters ordering them to leave by September 23rd. And these letters were dated August 9th, shortening the deportation timeframe by a whole month. Hebrew Israelites live predominantly in the southern city of Dimona. The mayor of the town, Benny Beton, is against the deportation tactics. And
all right, okay, I think I've proven myself that obviously they don't want you there. But again, as I said, that ain't our land. You know, you listen to the church, you listen to the pastor. They never told you who you were. You found out later on your own. But then you started to also believe part of the lie that, you know, just like that's just like believing, knowing that we the Israelites, but still believing Jesus is the Messiah's name, which is not. You know what I'm saying? Just like you believe that's the land, which is not. Okay. So we're going to talk about the Balfour Declaration. Like I said, I'll get to this. I'll break all this down. Just bear with me because I got a lot to show you. All right. So look at this. The first thing to understand is the Balfour Declaration. The Balfour Declaration was created by the Zionist Rothschild family, okay, which is the serpent seed. And that's what my documentary is going to be about. If you haven't seen it, it's dropping today at 6 p.m. Be sure to be at the premiere. You'll understand these white people and what they really are and where a lot of them really come from. But the Rothschild Zionist family owns Israel after the infamous Balfour Declaration of 1917. They are behind today's massacre of Palestinians, okay, an ethnic cleansing. That would be the most accurate way to present this, is because that's what it was. That's what it was, and that's what it is even to today. They want to make this land theirs and theirs only. And for 70 plus years, this is what's been going on, an ethnic cleansing. So understand that the Palestinians are only fighting back because this has been going on too long. Now, just to show you how serious this ethnic cleansing is, take a look at this video.
All right, so I was tagged and specifically asked to make a video responding to people using this map to try to paint Israelis as the bad guy. Like this.
Oh, wait, hold up. You supporting them? Wait, let me watch this in context because this is actually true. The Israeli people are dangerous. They are like this. And then hopefully he's not. I see a flag here that supported Palestine. So let me just hear the whole matter.
This video says Palestine in 1947 and now. Map tells everything. No, it actually doesn't. And look, I get it. You just take a look at this map, you would be like, oh my God, the Israelis have just been taking all the Palestinian land. And yeah, if you're a total fucking idiot who's just...
Okay, so it seems like he is standing out in support of them people. So we're not going to watch it. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. The things I'm going to show you prove why this is part of their whole agenda, okay? Now, this right here is, like I said, most Negroes cannot tell you who this is, okay? Most Negroes have no idea who this man is. They know who, you know, what Kim Kardashian's doing. They know what, you know, Blueface and Krishan Rock are doing, but most Negroes don't understand who your enemy is. I do, because I know history. This is Jacob Rothschild. This is the man who brought forward the Balfour Declaration with the British to make that the true, well, not make it the true land, but to establish this lie that that's the land, okay? This is who he is. And I'm going to play a little bit of this video so you can hear it. He'll hear this heathen admitted himself. My family created the state of Israel. Okay. Now, Yasharal is a people. We were given a land, but what he's talking about ain't got nothing to do with us or Yahuwah. Man gave the heathens that land. Okay. Not Yahuwah. Big difference. And as we said, the land is desolate to this day. They having gay pride parades and all other type of stuff. All right, but take a look.
In modern Jewish history, and it begins with 3 words. Dear Lord Rothschild.
Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet.
Why was it that this letter was sent by the Foreign Secretary to your great-uncle Walter?
It's an interesting question. But
bro, even listen to his voice, bro. Sound like the devil. Straight up like the devil. Look at his head shape, just like the Nephilim. You know how like you look at images of the skulls of like the deities of Egypt and so they have like cone heads. I mean, ugh, boy, what a devil, man.
Because it was primarily a movement from Eastern Europe, but they didn't clarify who was in charge of that movement. And in addition, it was after all in Great Britain. So they felt that the Rothschild family should be the one to whom it was addressed. And Walter was Lord Rothschild, and he was a Zionist. And those really are the background reasons.
So Walter received the Balfour Declaration, and I have a copy here. And I wonder if I could possibly ask you to read it.
All right, so he's going to read to you the Balfour Declaration, and I'm going to show you a little bit more information on the Balfour Declaration so you can understand there would be no so-called state of Israel without this white heathen right here, this devil and his family that helped the British to sign off on it, because that area was owned by this man, and he's worth trillions and trillions of dollars. He's no longer alive anymore, but his family and they're involved. They're them being involved with many things. They're one of the richest families of the world, and their families help to run the world, along with a lot of these other higher power families. Like there's a elitist bloodline. They're obviously the serpent bloodline, but you've got a lot of other individuals that are connected to them too. Okay, just like the Rockefeller family, the Bilderberg groups, okay, the royal family. All of these people are all of this serpent satanic bloodline, and guess what? They're all white. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, here we go.
For us.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. I'm going to put on my spectacles to make sure I read it accurately. His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment of Palestine as a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country. I should be grateful if you would bring this declaration to the knowledge of the Zionist Federation.
Okay, so I want you to understand, he keeps mentioning Zionism. All right, so this has been an agenda since Hitler. Okay, it's been something that they've had, ideology that they have had since so-called World War II. And like I said, at some point, I will show you everything they're telling you about that is a lie. Everything is. Everything. Even Hitler was part of their agenda. Okay? All of it is. Everything that they told you about their life, what they've gone through, all of it is a lie. And yes, I do deny it. It never happened. Okay? It never did. Not the way they're telling you. And don't worry, I'll eventually do a video on that at some point. But what they're telling you about that event in WW2 is not what they've been telling you. All right? But the Zionist thing has been something that they've been holding on to and that they've been running with for a very, very, very long time. And that's why you still see it to this day. And you see Zionism is really Jewish supremacy extremism. That's really what it is. It's Amalekite supremacy to kill off anybody who's not Amalek, specifically Jacob. And eventually it's really about you, Jacob, if I'm being honest. the Palestinians are just a scapegoat. But really the target is you. And then they have their eyesight on Africa next. That's where you come into play. Just keep that in mind.
Was Arthur Balfour.
And here it is, the Balfour Declaration. What do you feel when you see it here?
I genuinely feel it's one of the most extraordinary moments in the history of the Jewish people. If you think it took 3,000 years to get to this. And then you say, how did this miracle happen? It's the most incredible piece of opportunism. I mean, if you think you had an impoverished would-be scientist, Chaim Weizmann, who somehow gets to England, meets a few people, including members of my family, seduces them. He has such great charm.
Seduces them? What?
He gets to Balfour. And
oh, you gay, bro.
He unbelievably persuades.
Gay white man. All right, let's keep going. All right, so y'all saw a little bit of that. I don't want to bore y'all with this demonic man's voice. You know what I'm saying? His voice is just, yeah, I hate his voice. So let me show y'all this other thing here. This is also from Twitter. All right. Did you get it yet? Israel is a Rothschild creation via the Balfour Declaration. The Rothschild owns media that spews Zionist propaganda. Okay, so look at this right here. This is The Economist, and it says Israel alone. Okay, and what they do is they use the power that they have in these magazines to be able to kind of indoctrinate you into supporting this. Remembering Evelyn D. Rothschild, chairman of The Economist for 17 years. The Economist was owned by the Rothschilds. And look at that. Okay, you see how they control the narrative? Okay, Israel alone, to make people feel bad and want to support these people. Okay, but again, they own The Economist. So they use propaganda to reel you in. Okay, just like when I was a young child. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell y'all a little personal story. All right. When I was in high school, it's like my freshman year. I did my freshman year of high school at a college prep school. So I was around a bunch of Ukrainians, Russians, Europeans. They hated me. They did not like me. As a matter of fact, they went around telling a lie that I denied that, you know, the H caused, right? They started telling people I said that, which I never said. But one of the assignments for me to get credit for that semester is I had to go to a place in LA called the Museum of Tolerance. Okay. It's a personal story. All right. My mother, who is a Yahudi, had to bring me there. Okay. And we had to go to it together. In order for me to be able to graduate, I would have to go to this museum. And I'm going to show y'all what I'm talking about real quick. This is what I mean when I say how deep the programming goes with these people. They want you to feel bad for them. They want you to feel guilty if you don't support them and all that stuff. It just don't work no more because I know who I am. You know who you are. So that guilt trip stuff don't work anymore. You feel what I'm saying? But back then it had an effect on me. But then I was asking my mom, like, why the hell do I need to learn about this? We've had it bad too. Like, you know, I mean, even as a young Black Yahudi, I knew that our plight was bad too. I didn't understand the biblical significance of it because I was only about 14 years old at the time, right? But they used this Museum of Tolerance to ingrain in you that the plight of the Ish people is the worst thing that ever happened to humanity, period. Worse than the Negro, worse than anything else, right? So let me just see if I can show y'all some of this, all right? So this is the Museum of Tolerance, 9786 West Pico Boulevard. You know, if you're going on your way to Santa Monica, this is where you'll drive by this. If you're driving down Pico, you're going to see this. It's right off the 405 freeway in LA. So basically this museum, you go in here and it just shows you a bunch of stuff about the H events. I'll just call it the H event because y'all know I got to be careful what I say. You know, and so it's just a constant reminder of what they went through. And then they have these devices where you can sit down and you can almost kind of experience it like if you were actually going into this. Okay. So for example, they have a section in this museum where you have to put yourself in the mindset of an Ish person. Okay, so if you were a woman and a child and you weren't able to work, you'd have to go into this section. But if you were a man who was willing to work, then you have to go in this section. You feel what I'm saying? So they kind of put you into the mindset of being one of these people. It's very psychological what they do to people's minds, making them go to this. It's so immersive. You're going to feel like if you question any of this, something is wrong with you and you have no heart. Now, if I was in LA right now, I'd walk up in this and say, this ain't nothing but a bunch of bullshit. I'd like to say another word, but y'all don't. All right, facts. But these are things that they have done, family, to try to make you feel like you have to, side with these people. And I ended up going to this event with my mother, right? And after we went through the event, I didn't really feel any way about it. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't feel anything. I was just like, I don't know why we got to go to this. And my mother was just like, she was heartbroken by it. She was so, emotionally driven by it and all of that. But after me, I was like, why did I have to sit through that? That was boring. This ain't got nothing to do with me. Even back then at 14 years old, I was saying that. But my mom, she was completely immersed in it. She texted her, she's like, this is a trip. Then after I went to this boring museum, right, then they forced me to read the diary of Anne Frank, okay, which is also a fraud, okay, because her dad wrote that long after she was even alive, okay? So there's some discrepancies with that, okay? But that was more propaganda that I had to read. I had to do a book report on Anne Frank's diary. So there's just a lot of things, family, that they are doing to manipulate people about these folks. Okay, I mean, even in elementary, you won't hear about this guy named Hitler. Why do you think most of his speeches are in German? And I'm not a supporter of him or nothing like that. Okay, I'm not. But there's a reason why most of his speeches are in a language you don't understand. Think about that. I want you to really, really think about that. You had other people, Stalin and individuals that you could still kind of understand what their ideology is. But most of the time when they play speeches from him, it is in a language you don't understand. That is for a reason. Okay? That is for a reason. And again, they have to have a bad guy in order to make themselves seem like they're just absolved of anything bad and they're not Zionists that have, these wicked intentions of ethnic cleansing. And they came to, so-called Israel in 1948 with pestilence and bombing and destroying and massacres and genocide, because that's what it was. That's what it was, but that's what they're not telling you. Now, let's continue, family, because I'm going to show you more. There's just a lot of lies behind these people, and people won't listen, okay? Now, here's another a close-up of the letter of the Balfour Declaration, okay? All right, you can see this. So this was addressed to Rothschild from the Foreign Office, okay, about the government. That's what he read to you, talking about the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Ish people, and will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country. Any other country. So that means it wasn't necessarily going to be Palestine. Evidence of that in a second, okay? Now, another thing that I find so interesting about this is racism didn't really become a word, even though racism has been around here for a long time, right, against Negroes, right? Racism did not really become a word that was accepted as something against an ethnic group until the Jewish people, okay? So Negroes been dealing with this since we've been in this crusty country, right? But they started weaponizing the word racism to mean hatred towards them. Now, I was thinking about this the other day as I was putting this together. I find it very, very interesting that if you say something about them, they want to call you anti-Shemitic, right? Now, most people be like, well, they're not even Shemitic. They're not. But what's so interesting about that, though, to me, is Shemites are a broad range of people. You've got Ishmaelites. You've got Ammonites. You've got Amorites. You've got, obviously Hebrews, Abarim, right? You have so many Shemitic groups of people, right, that fall under that umbrella of Shemitic. But yet they're the only people who claim anti-Semitism, and they're not even Shemitic to begin with. But you got other types of groups that are Shemitic that don't use that term. I've always found that to be so interesting. And I just thought about it today as I was yesterday as I was putting this together. And I'm like, isn't that interesting that nobody else claims anti-Semitism? Even if you say something about Arabs or Palestinians, even though they're really Turkic Mongols, they're not even really fully Shemitic, if I'm being honest, because they are also mixed. They are Mongols. But I just find it interesting that they say that anti-Semitism is ish hate. You feel what I'm saying? But I mean, if you look at it, let me pull up the definition real quick. Okay, so the Oxford Dictionary describes AS, all right, as hostility or prejudice against them folks. Okay, now don't y'all find it interesting that these people have hijacked the word Semitic to only represent them, even though you've got Ishmaelites, right? Even though you've got, descendants of Ishmael, you've got descendants of Shem, you've got Ammonites, Amorites, and all these other individuals who are also Shemites, right? I find it interesting that they have used the word Semitic to only apply to them. And that's Jewish people. That's almost like saying only Yahudim or, the Yahudi is Semitic, when there's many branches of us who are Semitic. Now, here's what's even more weird about this. They claim to be Judah, right? Where is the rest of the other 11 tribes? Why are they not claiming anti-Semitism? Okay? I want y'all to really, really logically think about this, okay? If they're Jewish, then they're saying that they're from Judah. Where are the other 11 tribes that are also claiming anti-Semitism? Because they all call themselves Jews. They don't even call themselves Jacob. Have y'all noticed that? None of this adds up at all right? Now, we already know Yahuwah said that when the 12 tribes go back into the land, we will not be afraid. We'll be dwelling in peace and safety and everything else, right? But there's one tribe, or supposedly one tribe, who call themselves Judah, that's in the land, and they're trying to tell you that prophecy has been fulfilled. Where is the other 11 tribes at? These are things you got to be asking yourself. People might say it doesn't really matter. They're all Jewish. They're all Jew. Well, not every Israelite is a Jew. Not every Israelite is a Yahudi. I told y'all about that. Okay? The only people who are Yahudim are the southern kingdom. Everyone else is just an Israelite, or the northern kingdom, or Ephraim, or whatever. Okay? The southern kingdom would be Benjamin, Levi, and Yehudah. That's it. They're all Jews. Anybody outside of that is just northern kingdom Israelite. Okay? So y'all gotta understand that it's not to say they're all Jews. That just doesn't make any sense. Because even I know I'm a Jew, you're a Yahudi, for lack of a better word. I know some of y'all don't like I say Jew, right? We're not Jews, we're Yahudim, but some people don't know what I'm talking about when I use the Abari. So understand that even their reasoning doesn't make any sense, because if they ask you what tribe you're from and they say, well, you're from Judah, then where's the other tribes? They're like, well, we're all Jewish. And they all call themselves Jews. Therefore, and then they'll even admit out of their own mouths that they're not that big of a group. There's not many Jews, and in general, which also means that they can't be the chosen people, because Yahuwah said that you be numerous as the sands of the sea. They weren't scattered. They don't fit the curses. They can't even identify where the other tribes are. None of it fits, bro. And these are the type of things you got to be thinking about. But anyway, I don't want to dwell on that too much, but I just find it interesting that the word anti-Semitism is something that they use that only applies to Jewish people. Okay, but there's plenty of other Semitic groups or Shemitic groups that are also Shemitic. In the Bible, if you read Genesis 10, you get a whole breakdown of the different Shemite groups. All right, anyway, let's keep going. All right, now the next thing I'm going to show you guys here is a little bit more information about the Balfour Declaration, okay? What was the Balfour Declaration more than 100 years ago on November 2nd, 1917? Britain's then Foreign Secretary, Arthur Balfour, or Balfour, that's who it's named after. He wrote a letter addressed to Lionel Walter Rothschild, a figurehead of the British Jewish community. The letter was short, just 67 words, but its content had seismic effect on Palestine that is still felt to this day. It committed the British government to the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Ish people and to facilitating the achievement of this object. The letter is known as the Balfour Declaration. In essence, a European power promised the Zionist movement a country where Palestine Arab natives made up more than 90% of the population. A British mandate was created in 1923 and lasted until 1948. During that period, the British facilitated mass Ishmaelite immigration. Many of the new residents were fleeing Nazism in Europe, and they also faced protests and strikes. Palestinians were alarmed by their country's changing demographics and British confiscation of their lands to be handed over to Jewish settlers. All right, so there's a little bit of a documentary talking about this. All right, here we go. Let me okay, here we go, fam. Make sure the sound's on. Yes, it is. Here we go.
In Palestine. Now we're going to look at how Britain did that. World War I had been a conflict between rival empires, and the winners set up the League of Nations to distribute the losing side's territories between them. They called it the Mandate System, putting territories once controlled by the Ottoman and German empires under the, quote, tutelage of advanced nations until they became independent. Britain was given the mandate over Palestine, but the Palestinian people were never asked what they wanted or what independence would look like to them. Listen to what Balfour wrote to one of his colleagues.
For in Palestine, we do not propose even to go through the form of consulting the wishes of the present inhabitants of the country.
Instead, it was the Zionists who were consulted about what their vision for Palestine was, and so the mandate ended up incorporating not just the Balfour Declaration, but several clauses requiring Britain to ensure the establishment of a Jewish home in Palestine. British rule was very accommodating to the Zionist project. The Jewish community in Palestine grew with big waves of immigration. They had their own schools and factories and even their own militia, the Haganah, and they were led by the Polish-born David Ben-Gurion, the leader of their representative body, the Jewish Agency.
Man, they have these big old noses, bro.
The Polish-born David Ben-Gurion.
Look how big his nose is.
Gurion, the leader of their representative body, the Jewish Agency. To the Palestinians, it was clear that Britain wasn't delivering them independence. It was delivering their country to other people. In 1936, they went on strike. British forces tried to break the strike with arrests, torture, mass punishment, and executions. Leaders were exiled, weapons confiscated, and houses blown up. Palestinian fighters attacked British and Jewish targets, while British and Haganah forces would carry out joint raids on Palestinian villages. Something had to change. The British government sent a commission called the Peel Commission to figure it out, but their proposed solution was typical. Just draw another British line on the map, divide the country, give this part to the Jews and this part to the Palestinians, and make that part of Transjordan next door. Oh, and because the Palestinians were a majority in the country, 250,000 of them would have to be removed by force to make the Jewish state viable. Remember?
Okay, y'all hear that? And that's what's going on now. They want more of the area. And that's why they're doing what they're doing at this moment, the ethnic cleansing, okay?
These were the proposals that were meant to calm things down. Spoiler, they didn't. Instead, the revolt continued until 1939. by which time about 10% of Palestine's adult male population had either been killed, injured, arrested, or exiled. The British government really needed a solution. So here comes another report.
The commission is studying the 20-year-old Jewish settlements in British-mandated Palestine.
The 1939 White Paper created a conflict between the British and the Zionists for the first time, because it rejected partition and said the solution was for Palestine to gain independence within 10 years, with everyone living there sharing it together. Crucially, it also imposed severe limits on Jewish land purchases and immigration. To the Zionists, this felt like a betrayal. In response, some set off bombs across the country, killing dozens of Palestinians. But soon, everyone was distracted by something much bigger. More than 60 million people were killed in World War II, including 6 million Jews murdered in Nazi death camps. Jewish survivors fled Europe, with a large number of them trying to find safety in Palestine despite the British limit on Jewish immigration. This set off a more direct confrontation between the Zionists and the British, with Palestinians often targeted as well. The Zionists knew two things. Militarily, they were stronger than the Palestinians, and Britain was exhausted by World War II, so it wouldn't have the stomach to keep fighting in Palestine.
Wait a minute. So I want y'all to think about this now. This don't make no sense, okay? Listen, how is it that a people that just went through a massive unaliving in World War II had more power and the money and the resources to completely drive out Palestine and get their land? Do y'all see how dumb this story is that they've been telling you? How it doesn't make any sense? These people were sailed over on the ships from, Germany or whatever, but they had enough power to ethnically cleanse Palestine and take that chunk of land. How did they have these resources if they were literally being destroyed by some criminal madman named Hitler? The story doesn't make any sense. We just, didn't question it back then because we just didn't think that, they would lie about this. But now you understand why. But it doesn't even make any sense at all. We're talking about an oppressed people that have the resources and the firepower to take a whole land that they never lived in before. I want y'all to really think about that. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm putting that in your head because when we get to this breakdown about this whole event that they call the you-know-what, you'll understand why it's a lie. All right? But yeah.
They were right. In 1947, after 30 years of occupation, Britain announced it was quitting Palestine and asked the newly formed United Nations to clean up its mess. All right, 1947 and 1948 are the most pivotal years in this story. So let's take a look at how things are lining up. During British rule, Jews had gone from 10% to 30% of the population and owned about 6% of the land. Under Ben-Gurion's leadership, the Jewish Agency was pretty much functioning as a government for the Jewish community. And the Zionist militias had tens of thousands of soldiers, modern weapons, and officers who'd already fought in World War II. On the other side, the Palestinians hadn't been allowed to develop their own administration or military. But as they waited for the UN's solution, they were still the majority all over the country. In November 1947, the UN, then only made up of a fraction of the world's countries, voted to partition Palestine. This plan marked off 55% of the country for a Jewish state, but the UN never explained how it could be a Jewish state when half the people in its territory were Palestinian. To nobody's surprise, Palestinians, and in fact all Arabs, rejected the UN's plan. Ben-Gurion and the Zionist leadership accepted, but they saw an opportunity. With the British on the way out, the Zionists knew they would have the strongest military in Palestine. Their forces were instructed to seize more territory than they'd been awarded by the UN, and to do what was necessary to reduce the number of Palestinians in it. In cities like Haifa, the militia set off car bombs in Palestinian neighborhoods. They attacked villages and forced residents out.
Y'all hear that? I told you, them getting that land did not come without colonization and massacre and genocide.
Haganah troops have driven the Arabs out of the beleaguered city, taking many prisoners.
After inspecting parts of Western Jerusalem that had been emptied of Palestinians, Ben-Gurion said,
"In many Arab neighborhoods in the West, you do not see even one Arab. If we persist, it is quite possible that in the next 6 or 8 months, there will be considerable changes in the country, and to our advantage."
One of the events that helped speed up these changes took place on April 9th, 1948, when the village of Dir Yassin was attacked. A British government report to the United Nations describes the scene. 250 people were killed in circumstances of great savagery. Women and children were stripped, lined up, photographed, and then slaughtered by automatic firing. The story of what happened at Dir Yassin set off panic all over the country. As news spread, people fled, fearing they would be next. Historians have recorded dozens of similar massacres during this period. Each time, they would result in entire communities fleeing.
תמיד הייתה הוראה, והייתה הוראה של בן גוריון, לגרש את האנשים משם. כבשנו את המקום, טרקטורים חרשו את המקום. חרשו. לא נשאר זכר של כבר. למה? לא רצו שתהיה, לא חזרה ולא זכר של המקום.
By the time Britain ended its mandate on May 15th, 1948, 250,000 Palestinians had fled. The night before, David Ben-Gurion announced the founding of the State of Israel, with himself as its first prime minister. He was standing under a giant portrait of Herzl, 51 years after Herzl had predicted this very moment. The Zionist militias came together as the newly formed Israel Defense Forces, but the fighting wasn't over. With the British out of the way, soldiers from several Arab countries entered Palestine. But the Israeli army was better equipped, better organized, and unlike the Arab armies, had a unified command and backing from several European countries. Israeli forces pushed into places that the UN had assigned to the Palestinian state, like the towns of Lidda and Ramle. 50,000 people were forced to flee from there, many on foot, in what became known as the Lidda Death March. After being emptied, the towns were given Hebrew names, Lod and Ramla. Like in many other emptied towns, the buildings and homes were taken over by the new Israeli state and given to Jews. By the time the UN secured an armistice, 3/4 of the Palestinian people had become refugees. In Arabic, they call this the Nakba, literally the catastrophe. The new state of Israel made up 78% of what had been Palestine. The remaining parts were annexed by Jordan or taken over by Egypt. A year later, the UN passed a resolution calling for all Palestinian refugees to be allowed to return home. They never have been. Palestine had been erased. In the decades since, attempts to resolve this conflict have again tried to partition the land. With each successive attempt, the territory offered to Palestinians in their historic homeland shrinks even more. Ironically, Israel is still struggling to maintain the population advantage it gained in 1948 when it forced all those people out, because in 1967, it occupied the West Bank and Gaza, bringing all the Palestinians living there under its rule. And so today, the population of Jews and non-Jews in this land is roughly equal. But those living under occupation have no rights, no citizenship, and no prospect of independence. The Nakba-era tactics of settlement, home demolitions, and expulsion are still used against them.
Nakba, Nakba, no! We want Nakba, Nakba, no!
All right. Okay. So y'all see that when it comes to this land, it was violence that they got the land. All right. It wasn't, some healthy proposal that worked for both sides. Now, I think it's also important you guys understand that there were several proposals for a Jewish state, which proves that's not the land at all, because they were looking at all these different areas, especially in Africa, where they were going to establish this so-called state of Israel. So that means that they didn't have a place, in their minds at first. They were looking at different places where they would establish this so-called Jewish state, okay, which shows that it's a lie. It's all a lie. So let me show you. So the first place was Ararat in the United States, okay? In 1820, in a precursor to modern Zionism, Mordecai Emanuel Noah tried to found a Jewish homeland at Grand Island, New York, in the Niagara River, to be called Ararat after Mount Ararat, or the biblical resting place of Noah's Ark. Okay, so this is 1820. They were first looking at the United States, Grand Island, New York, to establish the state of Israel. Okay, so it could have literally been anywhere, right? Let's keep reading. He erected a monument at the island which read Ararat, a city of refuge for the Jews. Founded by Mordecai M. Noah in the month of Tishri, 5586, and in the 50th year of American independence, in his discourse on the restoration of the Jews, Noah proclaimed his faith that the Jews would return and rebuild their ancient homeland. Noah called on America to take lead in this endeavor. Some have speculated whether Noah's utopian ideas have influenced Joseph Smith. This man, and this is where all these Negroes out here talking about America's the promised land. Yeah, the white man says that. That's him. That's Joseph Smith, the leader of the Mormonism movement, who founded the Latter-day Saint movement in upstate New York a few years later. Okay, so Grand Island, New York is where they had their first proposal of the state of Israel, so to speak. Okay, so that was the first place they were looking at, and they obviously didn't go through with it. The next place was the British Uganda program. The Uganda scheme was a plan to give a portion of the East Africa protectorate to the Jewish people as a homeland. So they was looking at East Africa. They was looking at Uganda. Okay, but you know they pale-faced selves can't live in an area like Uganda, right? And we're going to read about why in a little bit. The offer was made by British Colonial Secretary Joseph Chamberlain to Theodore Herschel. We just watched a little bit of a video of him, a Zionist group in 1903. He'd offered 5,000 square miles of the Mao Escarpment in what is today Kenya. Interesting. Kenya, family, is where he was trying to establish the so-called state of Israel. The offer was a response to the pogroms in the Russian Empire, and it was hoped the area could be a refuge from persecution for the Jewish people. The idea was brought to the World Zionist Organization, okay? The World Zionist Organization. As I told you, even going back to World War II, there were Zionists involved with all of this, okay? Sixth Zionist Congress in 1903 in Basel. There, a fierce debate ensued. The African land was described as an anti-chamber to the Holy Land, but other groups felt that accepting that offer would make it more difficult to establish a Jewish state in Palestine in Ottoman Syria, particularly the Mutsa Rafat of Jerusalem. Before the vote on the matter, the Russian delegation stormed out in opposition. In the end, the motion considered the plan passed by 295 to 177 votes. The next day, a three-man delegation was sent to inspect the plateau. Its high elevation, listen to this, family, its high elevation gave it a temperate climate, okay, making it suitable for European settlement. However, the observers found a dangerous land filled with lions and other creatures. Moreover, it was populated by a large group of Maasai people, black people, who did not seem at all amenable to an influx of people coming from Europe, okay? So the African people of that area did not want a bunch of Europeans flooding into their land, okay? It would have been the end of the Khazars if that would have happened. I'm just saying, I mean, you know. So they saw that there was lions there. They saw that they would not be able to exist. Now, one thing that's not mentioned here is the temperate climate that they were in, they wouldn't have been able to handle it. It was too hot for them, okay? Their pale skin would have literally, you know what I'm saying, probably withered away and they would have died, all right? But they feared the indigenous people of the land at the time, and they didn't want any problems with them because they know Africans' history with colonizers, okay? So they would not have been very accepting of these Jews being in their lands, okay? Because again, y'all got to find somewhere to go because y'all got kicked out of all these different countries and all these different nations because y'all really are the Khazars. And the Khazars have a history of stealing people's identity and then acting as if they're those people. And the Khazars, if you look deep into the Khazars, that's what they do. They steal people's identity. They go and massacre people because they're bloodthirsty, and then they steal their identity. All right, let's keep reading. After receiving this report, Congress decided in 1905 to politely decline the British offer. Some Jews who viewed this as a mistake formed the Jewish Territorial Organization with the aim of establishing a Jewish state anywhere. Anywhere. You hear that? Anywhere. Meaning this is not the land. So-called Israel is not the land. It's a lie, family. All right? So you have the USSR, because remember, they were in Khazaria at one point. So, I mean, it would make sense that they want to be close to the Caucasus. All right, so we're not going to read this whole thing. Japan, Fugu Plan in Japan. That was another place they were planning on establishing the state. Madagascar was another place. Italian East Africa, other than just Kenya. All right. So they had all these areas that they was looking to establish this so-called state of Israel, which goes to show you that, like I said, it's just not the land. Now, I'm going to show you guys some more information about these proposals to establish a Jewish state, just to put more things in context for you. All right. So let me pull this next thing up. I'm going to refresh my screen here. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up this screen here. We're going to look at some more videos where they talk about these individuals attempting to establish this state. Okay, so this is a little bit of a thread looking at some of this information that we just talked about, how they were looking at all these different places. Okay, so this is a thread with a little bit more information about how they were looking at all these different places to establish the state. So this is Ararat City, city of refuge for the Jews, as we read about, established by New York politician Mordecai Emanuel. All right, we just read about that. Okay, Uganda, proposal created by George Chamberlain and presented by Theodore Herzl at the Sixth World Zionist Congress in Basel in 1903. So you can see right here, Uganda. Okay, and they were attempting to establish it in Kenya, which is East Africa. All right. So you can see the evidence right here. Then you got this one. The motion considered the plan passed 295 through the team sent to, and obviously we just read about this, but they went to go look at the area in Kenya, and they saw that, you know, it was lions, and the Maasai people were not really welcoming to these Europeans. You feel me? They wasn't with it, so they had to take it elsewhere, which was obviously later become Palestine. And this right here is the USSR, okay, where they originally planning to establish this so-called state of Israel in the USSR. That was another place they were looking at. And this is another right here. See this area right here, and see China's right here. They were going to establish it right here. So if you look at Russia, Siberia, right next to China is where they were going to establish the state of Israel, this little plot of land. And this is the Fugu plan, okay? So you see Korea right here. And this little area here is where they were going to originally establish it, right next to where China was. Let's see, Madagascar, we talked about that. You see, at this point, they didn't really care where they set up this so-called state of Israel. They didn't care. They just wanted to do it because they wanted to establish this anti-Messiah rhetoric. Like, I mean, and that's really what this is about. This is about the New World Order. This is about the anti-Messiah, and this is about the plans that they have for this New World Order, which is going to be from the state of Israel. All right. So again, this is just more evidence of these places they try to establish: Tasmania, Madagascar, Uganda, and all these other areas. Okay. All right, I'm going to show you guys this next thing. It says, before invading and occupying Palestine, did you know that some of the Zionists considering establishing a Jewish state in the middle of the U.S., located in the state of New York? All right. Remember I told y'all about that? Well, here's a video.
Did you know that some Zionists considered establishing a Jewish homeland right in the middle of the US? In 1825, Mordecai Manuel Noah, a Jewish-American diplomat and one of the founding fathers of modern Zionism, bought around 10 square kilometers of land in the state of New York to found a settlement. The project was called the Jewish state of Ararat, in reference to Mount Ararat, where Noah's Ark rested after the flood, according to the Bible. Located on Grand Island, close to the Canadian border, the colony was supposed to become a refuge for the Jews of all nations fleeing persecution. But the project met with failure. Ararat lacked support from the Jewish community, and Noah was accused of swindling money from European Jews. By the end of his life, Noah ended up supporting the idea of colonizing Palestine, and he refused to oppose slavery. He inspired territorialist Zionists who believed in the Jewish homeland outside of Palestine. At the end of the 19th century, following his example, this group supported the establishment of a Jewish state in multiple parts of the world, such as Kenya in Eastern Africa, Cyprus Island, the Sinai Desert in Egypt, and Argentina in South America. But this movement disappeared in 1948 with the foundation of the State of Israel.
Okay? So you can basically see here, family, that all of these things are not being taught to you, which is why, those of us in the truth, we have obligation to teach you. But I'm just trying to prove that this land that they told you is not our home. Okay, it has nothing to do with us. Okay, it is a lie, and it is a great lie because so many people believe it. Now, we're going to jump back over here to the scriptures, and we're going to look at some more scriptures that can also disprove this fake land that you see here on your screen. All right, so when we look at the scriptures give us a little bit more understanding of this, of what really is our land. Okay, now, the first thing to understand is when Abraham or Abraham came from Egypt with his wife, it says he went south from Egypt, okay? South. Now, let's look at a map of Africa real quick, but we're going to look at an ancient map. We're not going to use a modern day map because the heathens. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. Hold on. Egypt. Okay. So if we look at the map, right, the African continent, let me pull this up here just so we can get a better understanding of what we're looking at. Okay. So let me show y'all this. Now, again, I don't believe that the borders that they told us are what Yahuwah gave that separated Shem from Ham and all these other things. I think that there is a lot of lies that they have kind of pushed on us here, okay? But let's just say, for the sake of argument, Egypt is still somewhere up here, right? Now, if Abraham was in Egypt and he went south, that means he went downward. He went deeper into Africa, okay? He did not go north. He did not go east. He didn't go anywhere. He didn't go west. He went south. So that means Abraham would have gone deeper into from, if Egypt is right here, let's just say maybe the border is not what they told us, but this still would be essentially Egypt, right? If he went south, he went down, okay? Now, how far down he went, I can't really tell you. I don't really like to focus on where the true land is because, like I said, until Yahuwah reveals it, I'm going to just stick with what the scriptures say. But if he went south, that means he went deeper into Africa, okay? Sub-Saharan Africa, okay? Now, they have told you that the land would have been over here, he would have went this way, which doesn't even fit the scriptures, because they want to take away from the fact he went deeper into Africa, all right? Now, let's look at the scripture real quick, and let's read this, all right? Now, if you look at this scripture, Barashit, Genesis 13, 1 through 4, and you read it in the Masoretic text, it's going to say he went Nagab, or he went to the land of the south. So, again, he went south from Egypt. He didn't go any direction but south, all right? So that would mean that when Jacob and his sons went to Egypt and Joseph was ruling at the time, they would have walked from the south into Egypt. And they went from Egypt, and when they left Egypt, they went south back into the land of Canaan. And I've already talked about Deuteronomy 28:68. The Gentiles love to say that that's not talking about America. But again, Every time our people fled from the land, they walked from Canaan to Egypt, which means that the land of Egypt would be close to where the land of Canaan actually biblically is. You feel what I'm saying? It would be walking distance. I mean, Yahusha fled into Egypt. So he would walk north, right? If he was in Bethlehem, which would be within the land of Shem, then that means he would walk north upwards into Egypt. All right. So let's look at the scriptures here. So it says, Barshi, Genesis 13, 1-4, and Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him into the wilderness. Okay. And Abram was very rich in cattle and silver and gold, and he went to the place whence he came into the wilderness as far as Bethel, as far as the place where his tent was before, between Bethel and Agai, to the place of the altar which he built there at first, and Abram there called on the name of Yahuwah. Now, we can get a little bit more context with this when we read the book of Yashar or Jasher, because it gives so much more information about the circumference of the land of Shem, Canaan. So let me see here. Give me a second. I'm gonna pull up another. Actually, I think this actually let me show y'all this real quick. All right. Now, to further prove this, we're going to look at this map here, because when you look at the Nile River, family, it's mentioned in the book of Jasher, okay? And when you look at the Nile River, you can clearly see that little dirt area that they're calling Israel doesn't even make any sense, okay? So let me show you this, all right? So this is the map of what you call Africa. Now, this right here is the Red Sea, but we're not talking about the Red Sea. We're talking about the Nile River, which is this, right? It splits into the Blue Nile, then to the White Nile, okay? So we're talking about the Nile River, okay? That's what I want you to focus on when it talks about the Egyptian Sea, because you have the Red Sea and then you have the Nile River, okay? And this right here is, I think, part of the deception as well, okay? So we're going to read about this right here, the Egyptian Sea, which would be this, okay? I want you to think about that for a second. Now, let's go to the scripture and let's look at this. Okay, so it says, and it's talking about the land of Shem, and his portion extends along the Great Sea, and it extends in a straight line till it reaches the west of the tongue, which looks towards the south. For this sea is named the tongue of the Egyptian Sea. Okay, so this area of Shem would have to be near where there is the Egyptian Sea. Okay, meaning it would have to be Africa. It would not be America. It would not be nowhere else but next to where Egypt is, because the land of Canaan, remember, it has to be close to Egypt. And it turns from here towards the south, towards the mouth of the Great Sea on the shore of its waters, and it extends to the west to Afra. Now, this word right here, Afra, almost sounds like Africa. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it's very interesting. And it extends till it reaches the waters of the river Gihon, and to the south of the rivers Gihon, to the banks of this river, okay? So this Great Sea, or Egyptian Sea, it extends to the river Gihon, okay? Let's keep going. And it extends towards the east until it reaches the Garden of Eden, to the south thereof, and from the east of the whole land of Eden. Now, we know when we look at the word Cush, that is where Eden was, which was Ethiopia, okay? Now, again, this is not going to be a video that's going to sit here and tell you I know where the land is. I don't do that. I'm just going to tell you. It would, if according to what the scriptures say, and according to what is telling us here, okay, the land could be anywhere in this area, okay, like anywhere in here. I'd say Ethiopia, I'd say Kenya, I'd say anywhere in this East African region. I don't know where exactly. I don't know, and I'm not going to tell you I know, because I don't. I'm just telling you it's most likely all throughout here, okay, somewhere. I wouldn't think it would be much further than this. Now, it does say that the land extends west and all these other things. Obviously, you have, West Africans, which would be Israelites, right? So there would be some migrations that would take place and things of that nature. I'm not going to focus too much on that. But I'm just telling you, it makes sense. You got the Nile right here, and you've got the great Egyptian Sea, which they call the Red Sea or the Sea of Reeds or whatever. All of this ties to what the scriptures reveal, okay? So it would have to be somewhere in here. Now, I personally believe that Kenya is where you find Mount Kenya, or actually Mount Kenya is Mount Zion. I believe that. And we're going to get to that scripture in a minute, because the scripture describes the true land and Mount Zion being surrounded by mountains. That is not your modern day Middle East is surrounded by mountains. It's not. So that disqualifies it too. But yeah, I just think when you look at the Egyptian Sea right here, and then you also see this river, or this Nile River here, or the River Euphrates, or whatever you want to call it, it all just ties in with the scriptures perfectly. All right. Then it mentions the Garden of Eden. We know it was surrounding the land of Cush. Cush is Ethiopia. All right. So it would be somewhere around here. Okay. That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but like I said, until Yahuwah reveals it to me, I'm going to just stick with that. Stick with what the scriptures say. All right, now, let's keep going. And it extends towards the east till it reaches the Garden of Eden, to the south thereof, to the south and from the east of the whole land of Eden and the whole east. It turns to the east and proceeds till it reaches the east of the mountains named Rapha, and descends to the bank of the mouth of the river of Tina. This portion came forth by lot for Shem and his sons, that they should possess it forever until his generations forevermore. So again, this is talking about the land that was given to Shem's descendants, okay? Shem's land, Abraham's land, all right? And Abraham's descendants. Now, let's continue. Scriptures about Mount Zion, or Zion, and the land of Canaan. Now, I want you to listen to Thahalim, or Psalms 124, 1 through 2. In your KJV's Masoretic, it'll be 125, 1 through 2. So listen to this. It says, a song of degrees. They can trust in Yahuwah, or they that trust in Yahuwah. I forgot to take out the Lord. They that trust in Yahuwah shall be as Mount Zion, or Zion. He that dwells in Yerushalayim shall never be moved. Now listen to this. The mountains are round about her, and so Yahuwah is round about his people from henceforth and even forever. So what is this telling you about Mount Zion? Mount Zion is surrounded by other mountains, okay? So in order for it to be the biblical Mount Zion, it gotta be surrounded by a bunch of mountains, including Yerushalayim. It's gotta be surrounded by mountains. Now, let's look at Mount Kenya real quick. This is Mount Kenya, okay? It is right in the middle of the equator, okay? Right in the middle of it. And some of these Kikuyu people, because y'all know my woman is Kenyan, some of these Kikuyu people will tell you that this is a sacred area, okay? Now, of course, you can go up there, you can check it out, but it's one of the biggest mountains in the continent of Africa, okay? And it's surrounded by areas with lions and zebras and a lot of the animals you see in scripture. And that's one of the reasons why the heathen Gentile Amalekites that claim to be us, they didn't want to be in Kenya because there were lions over there. Now we know there were lions in Jerusalem. We know this. We know what the scriptures say. There were lions in Yerushalayim. Okay? Now, this is a high mountain peak, all right, that had lions in it. The Kikuyu people and some of the other Kenyan tribes are also Israelites for sure, right? They also say that that is the so-called mountain of God, or who they call God, because they don't know the true name. Some of them don't know true names. I believe Mount Kenya is biblical Mount Zion. Like I said, I could be wrong about this, but when you factor in it is East Africa, it would fall in line with the borders that we looked at in the scriptures. It's in the east. It's next to Ethiopia. It is East Africa. And even the fact that the heathens were looking at this as a place to establish the land. I'm just saying. Like I said, I ain't saying nothing definitively or nothing like that. I'm just saying that's what I'm leaning more towards, at least as far as Mount Zion. Now, let me show you this other video. I'm going to go over here to TikTok, and I'm going to show you these Kenyans, and they're talking about this mountain. And they're saying it is the mountain of God, so-called God. All right, so let me pull that up. Okay, give me a second. Whoops. Okay, my bad, y'all. All right, so let's go to this real quick. We're going to look at this video of these Kenyans, and they're talking about this Mount Zion because they believe it to be Mount Zion, the mountain of the Most High. And we're going to read a little bit more about that too, the Mount Zion. Just give me a second. Let me pull it up here. Okay. So we're going to watch this video of these Kenyan people, the Kikuyu tribe, and they talk about the Ark of the Covenant and all these other things, and it's a sacred mountain. So let me show y'all that real quick here on TikTok. So let me jump over to this video. All right, here we go.
I to tell you that you are known in the world. I'm being reminded to tell you that you are known in the world because you are the custodian of God's tablet. And God's tablets are here. God's tablets are here in Mount Kenya. Ark of the Covenant is here in Mount Kenya. God's scrolls are here in Mount Kenya. You don't know it because the white man came and, erased all that. Then you are told you are just what you call, you are apes, you are what, and then you accepted your apes. It's for you now to tell the world what you have and the powers you have. Hopi Indians in America, they respect you. They say Kikuyus are the custodian of tablets.
Okay? Now, there's more I could show you, but I'm going to just leave that there. Takala says, if Yah doesn't tell you where the land is, no one knows. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going off of what I think. I'm just going off what the scriptures say. Again, I'm not going to definitively say anything, but that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. That's all it is just an opinion. Is a wilderness located on the continent, do y'all think? Probably. I mean, it's not going to be, I don't think we're going to be in the desert like our forefathers were, but it'll, as I've said plenty of times, the wilderness is on the way to going to the land. We're going to be with him 3.5 years. So it's going to be probably in the wilderness of Africa somewhere. I don't know. The scriptures don't say. And these are the type of things I tell y'all not to focus on. We'll know when we know. But considering we're going to Africa to go home, it'll be probably somewhere in the wilderness around there. But I don't know. I have no idea. You do know the Nile River is one of the only rivers that runs south to north instead of north to south. Actually, it runs both ways. My best friend is from Africa. And I believe him because he was raised out there. He says it runs both ways. Does this mean Rome went deep into Africa to attack Israel? The current Israel is the wrong location. Yeah, everything that you read in the scriptures is true. It's just the location is wrong. Do you think the Most High put a strong delusion onto the Jewish people because some may think they are the people? Do I believe he put a strong delusion on them? No, I believe Satan did, but they're his children, so it is what it is. But the thing is, it's like even when it comes to these people, they don't even like to hear the truth. So I just find that kind of crazy. Don't any of y'all read Isaiah 35, 1 through 10? But I mean, the Jewish people can't be saved anyway. You know what I'm saying? There's no salvation for those people. So even if they are deceived, it's because Satan has given them the ability to believe something so strongly, and they get the benefits of it. So, yeah, there's that. So, I mean, I honestly really don't even feel bad for them. I feel like they need to be destroyed. They are what's wrong with this world right now, currently. So I don't even feel bad for them. All right, let's keep going. We got more to go through. But Madabar, Numbers 13:29, and Amalek dwells in the land toward the south, and the Hittite and the Hivite and the Jebusites, and by the Amorite dwells in the hill country, and the Canaanite dwells by the sea and by the river Yarden or Jordan. Joshua 11:16. So Joshua took all the land, the hills, and all the south country. Remember, Abraham went south from Egypt, and all the land of Goshen, and the valley, and the plain, and the mountain of Yasharal, and the valley of the same. Yashayahu Isaiah 8:18. Behold, I and the children which Eluah has given me, and they shall be for signs and for wonders in the house of Yasharal, from Yahuwah Sabaoth, who dwells in Mount Zion. Yashayahu Isaiah 24:23. And the brick shall decay, and the wall shall fall, for Yahuwah shall reign from out of Mount Zion and out of Jerusalem, and shall be glorified before his elders. Isaiah 2:1-3. The word which came to Yashayahu or Isaiah, the son of Amos, concerning Yahud or Judea, and concerning Jerusalem. Now listen to this. I want you to listen to this real good. This is talking about future prophecy. For in the last days, the mountain of Yahuwah shall be glorious, and the house of Eluah shall be on top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall come to it. And many nations shall go and say, come, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahuwah, and to the house of the Eluah of Jacob, and he will tell us his way, and we will walk in it. For out of Zion shall go forth Torah, and the word of Yahuwah out of Jerusalem. Okay? So in the last days, and in the last scripture I have is Tahalim or Psalms 47 verse 1. In your KJV is 48 verse 2. The city of the great king is well planted on the mountains of Zion or Zion, with the joy of the whole earth on the sides of the north. Okay? So this area of Zion is where Yahuwah is. I mean, obviously he's in the Shamayim, right? But I believe when it, because if you think about Zion or Zion in the scriptures, there's a lot of events that are going to take place in the end times. For example, Yahusha, he will crown the victorious of his people as well as the Gentiles who are accepted of him with a crown on Mount Zion. So if, let's just say hypothetically, if Mount Kenya is Mount Zion, which I do believe it is, I could be wrong. It's okay. It's just my opinion. I believe it is. We all have to be back in the land. In order for that event to happen where Yahusha crowns everybody, on Mount Zion, which is what Ezra saw, or Azara. Matter of fact, let me go to that scripture real quick. At Mount Zion. Let's go there real quick. We're going to look at that scripture here. 2nd Ezra chapter 2. All right, let's go there real quick. All right, look at this. And I'm going to connect this to Revelations as well because it says the same thing. All right. So this is Azara Shani, 2nd Ezra chapter 2. And we're going to read 42 all the way to the end. All right. I, Azara, or Ezra, saw on Mount Zion a great multitude, which I could not number. And they were all praising Yahuwah with sharim, or songs. Okay. In the midst of them was a young man. This is talking about Yahushua HaMashiach. Was a young man of great stature. Okay. Let's keep reading. What was he doing? Taller than any of the others, and on each of them he placed a crown. But he was more exalted than they, and I was spellbound. Then I asked an angel, who are these, my master? And he said to me, these are they who have put off mortal clothing and have put on the immortal. So this confirms that when we are with Yahusha, we will no longer have these fleshly bodies. We will get our perfect, immortal, incorruptible bodies. Okay. And just as it says in Revelations, which I'm going to read next, you're going to see that it shows you the same vision. Okay. So we will get our immortal bodies when we're with Yahusha, and we will no longer have on this, you know what I'm saying, the fleshly temporary body thing. We will all receive our immortal perfect bodies. That's why he says, behold, my reward is with me. Okay. As soon as he comes, we will instantly be changed. All right. And they have confessed the name of Eluah. Now they are being crowned and receive palms. Okay. So remember, they're being crowned and they receive palms. 46. Then I said to the angel, who is that young man who places crowns on them and puts palms in their hands? And he answered and said to me, he is the son of Eluah, whom they confessed in the world. So I began to praise those that stood valiantly for the name of Yahuwah. Then the angel said to me, go tell my people how great and many wonders of Yahuwah which you have seen. Okay. So this is something that Ezra saw, you know what I'm saying, even before Hamashiach came. All right. Now we're going to jump over to Revelations, and we're going to read chapter 7, verse 9, and we're going to see how that connects to what the prophet Azariah or Ezra saw. All right. So this is Revelations. We're going to read this. All right, right here. So Revelations chapter 7, verse 9. Let me pull it up. Boom. All right. Let's read this. Make it bigger. Okay. After this, I beheld a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and peoples and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hand. And what were they doing? And cried with a loud voice, saying, salvation to our Eluah, which sit upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. Okay, so this is just another example of what Ezra saw, where these nations that are grafted in with us, along with the true children of Yahuwah, right? You got the other nations that's with us, right? And they will also receive palms in their hand, and they'll be singing songs to the Most High. Okay, so this is another prophecy that connects to what Azariah saw. Okay, and they received the crown of life. Matter of fact, let me share that scripture with you. It's just another scripture to encourage you. Let me pull that up real quick. All right. Revelations chapter 2. Yeah, Revelations chapter 2, verse 10. So let's go there real quick. We're in 7. We're going to go to Revelation 2:10. What did Yahusha say? He says, fear none of these things which you shall suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you in prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. But be faithful unto death, and I will give you a crown of life. Okay, so this is Hamashiach's promise that if we endure to the end, we shall receive that crown of life. Okay, so that connects directly to the scriptures. But with all that being said, now that we understand that that can't be the land, we're talking about sub-Saharan Africa. Now, there have been some things that have been taking place in sub-Saharan Africa, which I think are very prophetic. So let me show y'all a few of these articles I have here. This is the first thing. Take a look at this. It says, how forest gardens are restoring land in hope in sub-Saharan Africa. This was written October 14, 2024, so literally a few days ago. Every time Jeanne d'Arc Sambou walks into her vegetable garden in central Senegal, a region struggling with desertification, the sight of this green oasis gives her spirits a lift. If I go into the garden, if I open the gate, I enter with joy, Sambou said, while taking a break from drawing water from a well. I never thought I could do all the things that I've done here. Sambou is one of the tens of thousands of smallholder farmers in sub-Saharan Africa who've established tree-dotted forest gardens with assistance from Trees for the Future, a nonprofit group. The initiative says those involved is helping to diversify food and income sources, making families more resilient and pushing back against land degradation. All right. In recognition with its benefits for people and nature, the initiatives were already designated a United Nations World Restoration Flagship. So why is it that the United Nations is so focused on restoring sub-Saharan Africa? I find that very interesting. All right. I mean, sub-Saharan Africa, honestly, is just interesting to me because that's the area that they're focusing this on. All right, let's keep going. So this is another article I want to show you guys. And this is from The Week, theweek.com. And let's read it. The Sahara Desert is turning green from dry to downpour. Wow. So the Saharan Desert that has been deserted and desolate for quite some time is starting to turn green. Well, this is looking like prophecy. It's looking like Yahuwah is about to deliver his children, and he is showing us he's soon to bring us home. Now, as we read in the scriptures, it says the desolate land shall be cultivated. Let's go back to that real quick. So it says that, and we're right here, we're reading Ezekiel 36, 27 through 38. But right here it says in 33 through 38, thus saith Yahuwah, the day where I shall cleanse you from all your iniquities, I will cause the cities to be inhabited, and the waste places shall be built upon, and the desolate land shall be cultivated, whereas it was desolate in the eyes of everyone that passed by. And they shall say, the heathens, that desolate land is become like a garden of delight, and the waste and desolate and ruined cities are inhabited. And the nations, as many as shall have been left from around you, shall know that I, Yahuwah, have built the ruined cities and planted the wastelands. I, Yahuwah, have spoken it and will do it. Thus says Yahuwah, for this will I be sought by the house of Yasharah to establish them. I will multiply them, even men as sheep, as holy sheep, as the sheep of Yerushalayim in our feast. Thus shall the desert cities be full of flocks of men, and they shall know that I am Yahuwah. Well, according to this what's going on right now in sub-Saharan Africa, it's looking like this is coming to pass. Okay, so let's read a little bit more of this article. The Sahara Desert, located in West Africa, is the largest hot desert in the world. While deserts are traditionally characterized by a dry climate with low levels of vegetation, the Sahara has been much greener than usual as of late, mainly due to climate change. Of course, they're going to always mention climate change. You know, global warming and all this goofy stuff. There ain't no such thing. This is the hand of Yahuwah. From brown to green. Between July and September every year, rainfall north of the equator in Africa increases due to monsoon season. Such stormy weather occurs when the tropical air from the near equator meets the hot, dry air from the north of the continent. This boundary is called the intertropical convergence zone. The ITCZ shifts north of the equator in the northern hemisphere summer months and sags south of the equator during the southern hemisphere warm months, says CNN. However, the ITCZ moves further north the warmer the world gets. All right. Okay, that's pretty much that. So basically, sub-Saharan Africa is starting to go green. All right. Now, let me show y'all this next thing. I found this to be interesting, too. So not only was sub-Saharan Africa and these Saharan climates were they going green, but there's also flooding that's taking place in these areas, which I find to be also very interesting. Perhaps the Most High is using this to restore the land. So it says flooding in Morocco turns Sahara Desert into a lake. The Sahara is usually one of the driest places on earth, but in September, heavy rain caused lakes to form in the desert. Water is both a blessing and a curse, and a link to climate change is possible. And of course, that's what I'm saying. All these things you're seeing, be careful about, people telling you the government did it. Be careful them telling you it's damn climate change. Okay, you got to be able to see what Yahuwah is showing his children. Because I'm telling you right now, these conspiracy theories that everything is the government doing it, and this is not his judgment, and this is not his hands, and this is not him showing signs to his children. You know what I'm saying? Be careful about these white conspiracy theories. Be careful about being a conspiracy theorist yourself. I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I don't take all, I don't put everything in the hands of man. All right. Yahuwah said that there will be signs of the times. Not everything is the government. A lot of it is Yahuwah. Okay. The discernment and the ruach comes in and knowing the difference. This has nothing to do with the heathens. This is clearly Yahuwah. Okay. You got to be able to tell the difference, y'all. All right. So be careful saying everything is the enemy doing it. All right. Okay. I think this is a video here. All right, so it says Lagoon in the Dunes. It's no mirage. Oh, wait. Okay, I ain't going to play it. All right. Lagoon in the Dunes. It's no mirage. These sand dunes in the Sahara are partially covered by water at the beginning of September. A cyclone swept across Morocco and caused torrential rain. In some places, it was more than 200 liters per square. That's how much rain normally falls in the region of a year. Wow, look at this. This is crazy. These palm trees stand up in water up to the crown of their leaves, as dry soil can absorb a small amount of water, and there's virtually no vegetation in the desert to hold back the water. The precipitation collects in valleys and depressions. This creates large temporary lakes. Some even have names such as Lake Yasmina in the oasis town of Merzouga, which is seen here. Wow, this is breathtaking. Blessing from the sky. A car to the water's edge. The flooded desert areas are caused a tourist boom. We're incredibly happy about the recent rains, tour guide Youssef Atkiga told the AFP news agency. Residents and tourists are celebrating the water as a blessing from the sky. First, y'all saying it's climate change. Okay. Seen from above, the soft curves of the temporary lakes are reminiscent of a painting by Salvador Dali. Family, this is clearly Yahuwah. This is not something man can do. And seem just as surreal in the middle of the desert, but heavy rainfall in the Sahara is not that uncommon. The Technical University of Zurich identified about 42,000 heavy rainfall events in the world's largest desert between 2000 and 2001 alone. Wow. Devastating flood. In the south of the country, the rainfalls caused much suffering, with 18 people dying as a result of flash floods and inundations. According to the Moroccan Weather Authority, the rainfall was caused by an extreme, unstable tropical air mass. Yeah. All right. So y'all see, man, it's some things going on, you know? And I'm not going to be so quick to run and say, oh, no, it's the government. Well, why? What purpose would the government have in trying to, you know what I'm saying, restore the Sahara to a time of greenery? That's Yahuwah. That's what Yahuwah said he going to do, not man. So I'm not going to give that to them. Like I said, you got to just know the difference between what is true and what's not, because I'm not going to tell you everything is, Yahuwah. There are some things the Gentiles are doing to cause confusion amongst his people, because as Yasharal wakes up, we will continue to look for signs from our Father so we can know how much more closer it is to get up out of here, right? The Gentiles know that. And so they are also doing things, but I'm not going to say, I'm just saying everything is not about, them. It is mostly Yahuwah doing a lot of these things. So all I'm telling you is just be careful about that. Yahudi Blue says, undermining Yahuwah's power, don't be fooled. Right, exactly. And that's what they do. And that's the whole reason for the whole talk about climate change, is to act like Yahuwah ain't doing these things, like it ain't him. You know what I'm saying? Which it is. So that's it, man. That's all I have for y'all today, man. I just wanted to show y'all this. Like, don't believe what you're being told about, the land being out there and all of that. That is not where the land is. Okay, the land is in Africa. That I can say definitively. Where exactly, that's up for debate. I'm not going to debate it. I'm just going to go with what the scriptures say. You look at the book of Yashar, it's clearly going to be south of ancient Egypt. So it's going to be deeper in the continent. So yeah. Anyway, y'all, one more thing. Be sure to join us back here at 6 o'clock. Okay, we are dropping the Esau and the Horites documentary. And to those who don't know, I had to remove the original video because copyright issues. Let's just say it like that. Copyright issues. And it's unfortunate, the video had over 100,000 views, but I know there's some people out here who don't want to see a nigga win. You know what I'm saying? Don't want to see your boy win, but it's all right. We're going to do it again. So let me drop the link in the chat. Make sure to turn on your notifications. And we want this video to get out there. You know what I'm saying? We want this video, this documentary to get out there. So if you can, I ask when the premiere begins, be sure to leave a comment, like the video. If you can, share the documentary. Okay. I re-edited the video and I added a little bit more into it. So it's not just like 100% the same thing that I had in the first video, but I definitely added some extra information to it. So, if you haven't seen it, join us here at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be dropping the documentary here on the channel, and we got to get it back up, man. We got to get it back up because we started from scratch. All right, so we got to get it back up. We got to get to 100,000. Maybe y'all who are willing will get up higher than that, right? But this time I'm actually happy because whatever this video does, I'll be able to monetize it because the last video they wouldn't even let me monetize it because they said it was too controversial and the music, some of the music I had in it, some of the clips I used had music that was copyright. So I just literally ended up composing and making my own music and putting it in the video. And I removed the sections, I should say, plural, more than one, that were causing copyright problems. So this video, I should fully be able to monetize. But yes, please share the video when you get opportunity. Join us in the live at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time tonight. All right. I'm hoping to see a good like ratio on that video. Be sure to leave comments on the video. If you're in the chat, that's totally fine. But after the video premieres, come back and leave a comment, even if it means leaving several different comments about several things about the video, because that just encourages more people to engage with the content. And it just tells the algorithms, you understand these algorithms, they respond well to engagement. You know what I mean? The reason why the video did so good organically is because everybody was talking about it. Everybody was sharing it. And I know people are looking for me and stuff like that. They're finding the video. If you type in Yetzer Malchiah and Esau and the Horites, you'll most likely find the video. But because I had to take the video down, that video is no longer available. So if you type Yetzer Malchiah, Esau and the Horites in YouTube, that video may be at the very bottom of the list, which is why I say we need to get it back up. Let me just check it. Esau and the Horites. Let me see what pops up. Okay, so it is showing up on my end when I type that in, but it's going to take some time because it's a new video to kind of get it really pushed in those algorithms. Because you got other people that talk about, the Horites and stuff like that. This Understanding the Mindset of Esau is another good video I think you guys should watch as well. But this documentary is going to be important. So if you go to the video right now and you click turn my notifications on, you'll be notified when we go live. All right. So be sure to come to the show, man. I want to see y'all there, bro. We got to get this information out because the reason why they came for this video is because it destroys sour cream supremacy. Okay. This movie destroys it. And they know that. You know what I'm saying? And, the individuals who, other nations, they felt a way about it because it kind of destroys sour cream supremacy. It destroys white supremacy. And so they felt a way about it. And they was like, oh, no, I don't like this. I don't like that he's talking about this. I don't like that he's got so much evidence against us. We want to be the face of heroism. We want to be the face of everything. And now he's disproving us. Now he's just proving that we're superior to the Negro. Oh, no, we don't like this. So, they felt a way about it. But it's okay. So Yahuwah willing, we'll get this video out and it'll pick up some steam and it'll do its thing. So that's it, y'all. I'm gonna get off of here. I might go live like maybe 30 minutes before the show. No, probably maybe 40 minutes before it drops, just to remind y'all to get on over there to go support this documentary. Okay, if you want to go there now, I dropped the link in the chat. Feel free to go like it right now if you want. You know what I'm saying? The more the merrier, for real. I just pinned it to the top of the chat. Go send me a like on that video. Go leave a comment. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, why not? You know what I'm saying? We got to get this thing going. All right? We got to hustle. So that's it. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining. And I might be going live in a little while later on, just to remind you guys to go check out the documentary. We're going to be live. All right. Shalom.
Hey, Yaxer.
I am trying to live righteous in a world run by Satan. Yahuwah Arua is the days of the ancients. And Yahusha coming soon cause his people need saving. Yahuwah will come through the most high mercy amazing. Nah, I am not a Christian, I don't follow religion. The truth is really hidden in those heathen depictions. Revelations 1:14, Jesus don't fit the description. Revelations 2:9, always playing the victim. Woo! All esteem to Yahuwah in the highest. I stand on the Bible, people say that I'm biased. They really just lawless, unrepentant and pious. Don't you be ignorant of the devil's devices. And Yahusha is the way, yeah, the truth and the life. Belief in Mashiach will reduce all your strife. I deduce he was bruised for an abundance of life. We shall not walk in darkness, we the children of light. Yeah. Returning to Yahuwah, yeah, we keeping his commandments. 400 years of these curses done enough damage. If you serve Yahusha, serve in spirit and in truth, yeah. Yahuwah gave me strength, you could hear it in the booth, yeah. Cleanse like hyssop, no bishop got the juice, yeah. Say they have my neck, but now we hanging from the noose, yeah. Mashiach coming back, don't you get caught lacking. Ain't no backtracking, it will make me a has-been. Blessings over curses, I'm refined by the fire. You're truly on your own if you deny the Messiah. I came about the storm like a stick out of mud. You really must be crip if you denying the blood. Woo! Yod hey to the Uah hey. Ay Yahuwah is his name, all the demons I slay. Yahuwah ha'alua kakabula alam. Baruch Hashamalak kan Yahusha amam.
Yo, hey to the Uah, hey, yeah. Yo, hey to the Uah, hey. Look. Yo, hey to the Uah, hey. Yo, hey to the Uah, hey.
All esteem to the highest, Yahuwah, and the King Yahusha. Abari rap, Yada Yahuwah, get with it.